Trump has the Make DC Beautiful Again executive order, which removes about 70 to 75 homeless encampments off the street. Now, he's not just removing the homeless people off the street, he's getting them substance abuse care. You can go to rehab, motherfucker. We're not just going to put you in a home, though. We're going to get you the help that you need, right? That's a fair deal. Now, if you don't oblige, possible jail time. We're not just going to put you up in housing so you can still be snorting coke and doing fentanyl. That's a fair deal. And what do you know? The in-the-way-ass liberals are recording the city workers removing the tents off the street. What the homeless people going to do now? They're being removed. Oh, my God. Well, bitch, what'd you do for the past 4 years? You wasn't offering them ramen. You wasn't giving them no caress soap to wipe their ass. I can tell you, liberals love chaos and dirt. They love it. You want the homeless to be on the street so we can smell human feces and piss all goddamn day, huh? Because you're dirty ass. You guys ever seen the trend why conservative women look so good? Because we clean our asses, motherfucker. Unlike a goddamn liberal, we can smell you from a mile away, bitch. Get your ass out the way.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. That's brighter and much better. Much better. I hope you all had a phenomenal weekend. Things went well for you. I literally just almost ended the stream right here by accident. That would have been the greatest boomer moment of my podcasting career. Like, I was trying to switch screens, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to end this screen. Wait, that's end stream. That's totally the wrong button. Why don't they have the buttons bigger? Why don't they? Oh my God." Anyway, I hope you guys all had a phenomenal weekend. Mine was A-OK, rock solid. We have a goal up tonight. Our usual goal of 15 yellows. If we get 15 yellows during the next hour and a half, which is a goal that we sometimes hit, sometimes don't. It really depends on the day. And if we hit that, I will go for an extra hour tonight. I have so much to cover with you guys. I don't even know where to begin. I was like, I have all these different side stories that I really want to cover, and I'm sort of probably going to end up kicking them so that they will never ever come up if we don't hit the goal. So I'm hoping for it. Because otherwise it's really just, it's going to be about the AG. I'm an AG story. If you haven't heard that story, it's a great story. Some great video. And all about Trump's summit meetings with Putin and Zelenskyy and the EU, and I'm going to break down for you my thoughts as to how he's doing, how different people are taking this, and yeah. But I have a bunch of things that I'd really love to cover, and we'll see whether or not I have time to get there, because I think there's just a lot of stuff I want to watch with you. Some of which I've seen already. Some of which I have not yet seen. I haven't seen like the full clips of Trump sitting. I've seen like extended clips, but not like the full clips, which is what I plan on watching. I don't know if it's every minute of the coverage, but a lot. I got a lot that I wanted to watch with you. Anyway, so with that in mind, I'd like to get started with you by breaking down for you this story of I'm an AG. This is the report that came out. This is the report that came out, in case you're wondering. This is how it came out. Press release on August 14, 2025, at about 21:51 hours, there or about 9:51 p.m. Officers responded to 24 Bannister's Wharf for patrons refusing to leave. An investigation was initiated by officers, and subsequently 2 individuals were arrested. Devin Hogan, charged with willful trespassing, given a district court summons to appear in court. Veronica Harmon, charged with willful trespass, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest, and was brought to court for arraignment. There you go. There's the Newport Police Department, Rhode Island. Newport, Rhode Island. Fine city that I've never visited, but they say good things about it. We need to watch how this whole thing went down You need to see this woman because, my God, she's a piece of work. She is a piece of work. Which one should... We're going to save this one for a little bit later. Let's start over here. We're going to start here. Here's the lengthier version. The lengthier version. Let's read the lengthier version of the story. You're going to regret this. State prosecutor told Newport police officers she was being put in the back of a cruiser Thursday night, arrested outside a restaurant for trespassing. It's not easy to trespass in a restaurant. Let me explain to you why that is. Because trespassing means you're somewhere that you're not supposed to be. Restaurants welcome everybody. You got to be pretty unruly for them to say you're not welcome here. I mean, especially if you got like a prestigious title and everything. They tend to like that. Not that I have any way of knowing whether or not Ms. Devin Hogan has a prestigious title or not. Maybe we should do some investigation. The officer body cam video released Monday by Newport Police shows the arrest of Special Assistant Attorney General Devin Hogan Flanagan and her friend, it's not Harmon, Veronica Hannon. In the video, Hogan Flanagan repeatedly tells the officer what she does for a living. Let's watch this on YouTube. Just here you go. Here you go. Let's make it nice and big so everyone can see you. She's got stuff to say.
I want you to turn the body cam off. Protocol is that you turn it off. If a citizen requests it to turn it off, she's a lawyer.
So they want you guys to leave?
Yes,
Let's just leave. Let's just make it easy, okay?
We're gonna make it easy.
That's not.
I am. Okay. I'm her husband.
That's not the point. Can you look at me?
Yeah, we'll talk over here, okay?
Your protocol is.
Can we all talk? Can we all talk?
We'll talk over here.
I wonder what she thinks the protocol is in this scenario.
They want you to leave.
Your protocol is.
Can we talk?
Who's she to you?
What's that?
No,
Who's she to
nothing.
you?
Nothing.
She is our college friend.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I'm not.
You guys just want him out? Do you want him trespass?
Anything we can do.
Yeah.
Trespass, yeah. I just need
Trespass, get him out.
Please.
Let him out.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Do we want to chat?
I know that your protocol is.
So you're trespassing, we got to leave now. Unless you want to be in there.
We're not trespassing. You haven't notified us that we're trespassing.
You guys
Number one.
what did
Number
I
two.
just say to you?
Number
Let's go.
one. Number one.
I don't
Number
want to
two.
arrest you guys.
You're not going to arrest us. Number two
So let's
is.
leave.
That's a bold prediction. Her saying you're not going to arrest us. Very bold.
We got to go. We got to go.
Protocol
Let's go.
is.
Let's
No,
go.
the citizen protocol is if we
Yeah.
ask you to
I
turn
don't
the
want
body
to
cam
deal
off.
with this. Let's
Okay.
go.
No. I understand you don't want to deal with it,
Okay,
but the
let's go.
protocol is,
Wait,
and your
can-
protocol
can
is
you
if I
relax?
ask you to turn off the body cam, you have to turn it off, and that's your protocol.
Cite the statute. Cite the statute. Cite it. Cite it.
She's a f***ing lawyer.
Ooh. She's not just a lawyer. She's an effing lawyer. She's an effed up lawyer. I don't know what that. Oh, just watch it. She's a lawyer. I never, ever want anyone I'm interacting with in a hostile environment to know that I'm an attorney. It's such a beta move. I'm a lawyer. If I meet a total stranger and the situation, one reason or another, if I meet a total stranger and it becomes hostile for one reason or another, the last thing I want any of them to know is that I'm a lawyer. First and foremost, it means they're probably going to like me a lot less. Whatever level of hostility we have, whatever level of animus they have toward me already, only going to be increased if they become aware of the fact that I happen to be an attorney. So that's first and foremost. She's a lawyer. These two were cruising.
So she knows.
Well, that's lawyer stuff, so that's not true. So we got to go.
No, it is. That's.
He's like, I call BS. She's a lawyer, so she knows.
She knows.
Well, that's lawyer stuff, so that's not true. So we got to go.
No, it is. That's law.
I'm an
What's she
AG.
saying?
I'm an AG.
Good for you. I don't give a shit. Let's go. We're going.
It's
Let's go.
Nice. That is so based. Good for you. I don't give a crap. I don't know who this officer is, but yeah, that is the appropriate response. That is okay. If you're new to the channel, you may be unaware as to why I wear this hat all the time, seeing as how I never served on the NYPD. I'm certainly not looking to mislead anyone that I have. No. I wore my hat because of people like these two individuals. Folks like these two individuals. The reason I started wearing this hat, which became branding for the channel, where you just see the NYPD hat all the time, is because when I went down for an anti-mandate rally, not going to specify for YouTube purposes the nature of the mandate that I was objecting to. But suffice it to say, for purposes of the story, this is during a period where there was all sorts of fear about all sorts of issues. Not that I'm a doctor. And when I got on the Jersey Transit and on my way down there, so I was just wearing my normal yarmulke like I normally do, walking around, and they basically made a big stink that unless I put on one of those big diapers over here, that I had to get off the train. You got to go. You got to go. And I'm like, really? Really? Yeah, no, you can't be on the fine. So I went down to this. So I got to the city and it was really hot day. It was like, I don't know, 4 years ago, almost exactly. And when I got, and because it was like, late summer. And when I got there, I was like, my head's going to burn up if I don't put on a cap. And it was mandates relating to unions, including NYPD. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I got an NYPD hat, not realizing that every Yahoo would think that means I'm a cop. And I was like, yeah, all right. Like even police officers like, like give me a nod as if like, I guess like it's like a secret sort of wink kind of thing. So you give one back. Like, yeah. Back to blue or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they thought I was just a fan. Whatever it is that they thought doesn't care. I'm not a mind reader, So I went down there. On the way back, I forgot to put on the mask. Conductor comes on by, takes one glance at me, and I'm not wearing a mask, and just keeps on going. And I was so outraged. I'm like, but you thought I was a cop? Like, I was like, why didn't they? He didn't even look at my ticket. Like, I could have gone on there for free. They normally check your ticket. You put your ticket on the seat. No, just walked on right. Oh, you're cool. And I was like, we live in such a double standard. Like, all of a sudden now I'm not a threat to society just because I'm wearing a stupid $15 souvenir hat. And this became my way of objecting to the two-tier system that we certainly suffering under right now, where idiots think I'm an AG actually should have some sort of gravitas, some sort of clout, some sort of impact on the people that they're dealing with. That, hey, I'm Mr. Special, or in this case, I'm Ms. Special, because I'm positive she ain't a Mrs. I'm Ms. Special. And these people make me sick. They make me sick. And I think it was the ultimate joke that you can think someone passes as being elite with a stupid $15 souvenir cap. And it ended up becoming my way of sort of reaching out and grabbing by the throat people like this. So there you go. That's how it started. So I love that this cop was saying, good for you. I don't give a crap. Let's go. I mean, AG, good for you. I don't give a crap. Let's go.
We're leaving.
Please don't put your hands on us.
Can you get your children out?
I'm very special. You better not put your hands on me.
They're like, I don't know why.
I'm sorry, what?
Let's go.
No.
Let's go. They're two full-grown women and mothers. So, all right.
You just need the tank. You just need the tank.
I'm an AG. What do you probably cause detain me for?
You're being detained because you're not leaving.
Because I'm what?
Can you relax? Sir, she's not doing anything wrong.
AG.
She's not leaving.
I'm an AG.
She's an AG.
You're trespassing and threatening and disobeying a direct command from an officer who's trying to control a situation. So, yeah, doing something wrong.
Buddy, you're not. She's not
I'm
being
an
arrested. Let's
I'm
go.
an AG.
I'm not being arrested. You're putting me in cuffs. I'm not being
Okay, do you have any
arrested.
weapons on you?
No, I'm an AG.
Her badge is in the car. You want me to go get a badge?
Let me tell you something. You're
Buddy,
arrested.
get the hell out of here. Buddy, just seriously.
Maybe he doesn't realize that she's an AG. Like maybe that's why. She should really try to make clear what she does for a living, because that might help this situation.
You're arresting me, AG. Let me tell you something.
Are you under arrest right now? No.
No.
You're putting me in handcuffs and you're Mirandizing. You're not Mirandizing me.
Oh, yeah, because I'm not keeping you. And failure to Mirandize means that he can't question her. That's what it means. That's what it means. It means if she was to say something after he tries interrogating her, he tries getting questions, and he starts. And if he sits there quietly, he never has to Mirandize. It's only if he's going to question. As far as I understand, I'm not a criminal defense attorney, and I certainly sure as hell ain't no AG. I'm just simply saying she's making it seem as if he's breaking the law by failing to Mirandize. That's a TVism. That's a little bit of TVism. I'm not saying that Miranda warnings are irrelevant. Don't get me wrong on that. I'm just saying Miranda is not like the most essential thing. I guess if you're an AG on TV, which right now she's certainly TV is where she's best known for being an AG. It's live TV. It's reality TV. But yes, it's TV that she's best known for being an AG. I just think that she's wrong about a lot of things that she thinks are accurate about the law.
Relax. Relax.
Buddy, you're gonna regret this.
Yeah.
You're gonna regret it. I'm an AG.
That is my favorite moment. In the middle of her saying it for the 12th time, she had said it 11 times already. I should have a counter here. Ding, ding. I'm an AG. I'm an AG. I'm an AG. I'm an AG. And when I'm like the 12th one, right smack in the middle. I'm an AG. You're going to regret this.
Regret it. I'm an AG.
I love it.
Take your hands off me.
We will get the
Take your
license.
hands off me.
Oh, here we go.
No.
Here's number 2. Here's Veronica Hannon. They did not have plans for the evening. My gut says that they did not have plans for the evening to progress in this particular direction.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Get back. Get back right now. Get back.
Entertained.
Nice.
No.
Get back. Yes, ups. Yep.
I'm right here. It's okay.
Just go from the car.
No, I'm right here.
Oh, she's fighting.
I'm right here.
She fire.
I'm right here.
Oh no. This isn't what you want to be doing there, hon. This is not the right call.
Come on, Dave.
No.
All right.
Babe, I'm right here.
No,
Right
babe,
here.
please, I'm scared.
I'm right here.
Please, I'm serious. Please,
I'm right here.
No, I'm not gonna find those. I'm happy.
I'm right here.
You were talking all tough before when you were standing next to your lawyer friend, because she's a lawyer. You were talking all tough before. So tough. Oh my God, so tough.
Okay,
No, please don't do this to my friend.
I'm right here.
No,
Right
no, babe,
I'm right here.
babe,
I'm right here.
no, babe,
Relax.
no,
Relax.
What's wrong with you?
Relax.
We don't want to put you in handcuffs. Let's go. Let's go.
no, babe.
Listen, you're
They're being-
overreacting.
You're adding
They're
trouble.
actually being very, very. They could have had I don't know. Normally the cuffs are a little bit tighter. Like you can't catch your arms up like that. I mean, I guess maybe she's flexible. I don't know.
Overreacting.
No. Please say my friend.
I hope. I wonder if they if they open the car door, she's still be in the middle of saying over and over again, "I'm an AG. I'm an AG."
Please take that out of handcuffs. No, please.
You were overreacting. You didn't have this. You didn't have to have this happen. Get in the car.
No,
Get in
no,
the car.
no! Babe, no!
Got you, Jay.
I'm right here.
Get in the car.
No!
Just put her in.
No!
Get back. Get back, bro.
Whoa. Whoa, that was like a feral scream. That sounded okay. Can I just pause and tell you all a quick story here about like the nature of like women when they're just sort of like on edge, the capacity that they have. It's a lung thing. It's a lung thing. I got to pause for a moment here. Okay. I'm going to pause and just tell you a quick story that I just have to, I got to just sort of share with you here. Okay. When I was my first year of marriage, so Lady Lawgic, we were blessed by God that a couple months after we got engaged, she became pregnant. And so I'm like married less than a year, like 10 months when she's giving birth, right? I got married in August, late June. You can count the months yourself. So late June, she's going into labor. Now, the whole pregnancy, my wife, God bless her, Lady Lawgic, awesome, talented woman, strong as an ox internally, the character like beyond measure. She's like deathly afraid of needles. Deathly, that's like her thing. Needles and dark bugs, right? Those are the two things that just sort of freak her out. So, and yes, spiders count as bugs. I guess small rodents. Well, you get the point. Anyway, she can be a really strong person, but she's still a girl at the end of the day. So now the whole pregnancy, she's like, no, I'm not getting the epidural. I'm not getting the epidural. I was like, it's not that bad. You sit still. You're not even seeing it going in. It goes straight into the back. She's like, no, I'm scared. I don't want to get the epidural. I don't want to get the epidural. I'm not getting the epidural. I'm not getting the epidural. She goes into labor, okay? They told us in What to Expect When You're Expecting, which is a book that everyone back in the day when they would get, okay? They would that book they sold for every kid born in America. There was like another one, certainly the firstborn. So they said when you go into labor, it's not like in I Love Lucy show where all of a sudden Lucy, wakes him up in the morning and says, honey, it's time. That's not the way it is. Well, 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, she's shaking me. And I look at her, I go, it's time. And she goes, it's time. So we get in the car. We're driving, okay? She's like, go faster, go faster, go faster, go faster, go faster. We're stuck. We're going from Queens to Brooklyn, okay? It's rush hour time now because it's, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Tons of traffic. I'm trying to get through here. Just dead stop. She's like, go faster. I was like, where should I go? She's like, I don't care. She's doing the breathing and she's frantic and she's going nuts. Like she's like, oh my God, it hurts so much. It's so bad. This is so bad. And I was just like, I'm gonna get you there as fast as I can. As soon when I come speeding on up in there into Maimonides Hospital, Borough Park. And we go, she goes like hobbling on in there and we run into the thing. They check her out. They do like the first thing, like how far along are you? Half a centimeter. She's screaming in pain the whole way there, like, oh, crazy. Screaming, oh, which I'm not saying that in mocking. I'm just saying that's how much pain it was because she's a very strong person, crazy strong person, like powerhouse. And even she is being affected by labor pains. I mean, it's painful. It's very painful. So that's how bad it is. If I didn't tell you how strong she was, you wouldn't appreciate how significant it is, how loudly she was screaming and the great dire pain that she seemed to be in. When they said she was at half a centimeter, I said, how far does she have to get to? They said 10 centimeters. I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, she can't even be here. You need her to go out and walk. Have her walk around to help develop the thing. Develop like to get further along. So go for a walk, come back here like in an hour. I thought this was hilarious because she was worried like the kid's about to pop out like any second. And that's how painful it was. So, and they're like, make sure she doesn't eat anything. Also, you can't eat anything because if you try eating anything, you're just going to throw it up. Now, she can't eat anything, but I'm kind of hungry. You know, it's like breakfast time. So we decide to walk on down to like this little kosher breakfast place. And I'm standing there and I'm ordering. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to get an egg and cheese croissant and an orange juice. And she's doubled over, screaming. I was like, should I get the milkshake? I'm not sure. Everyone sort of looked at me like, we're walking and as I'm walking back with this, I had breakfast. She didn't eat anything. I offered, but she said no. As we're walking back, I was like, I really think you should get the needle. It seems like it's really painful. I really think you should get the epidural. Just get the epidural. Get the epidural. Just get it. She's like, no, I don't know. She's like, this hurts so much. Oh my gosh. I was like, just get it. Then it's all done. Just get the needle. It's over with. She's like, I don't know. And she's on the fence. I'm walking back and I'm trying to help her, get back to the hospital. Walking back, I was like, just get the needle. We come back to the hospital. And every 3 minutes, she stops and she's like doubled over in pain. We come to the front desk. And she asked the nurse there, we're in the labor delivery room, right? The labor maternity ward section. She's standing there. And she says to the woman, she's like, I don't know if I'm really so scared of needles. I don't know. Should I get it? Should I not get it? I don't know. Should I get it? Should I not get it? So she's like, look, it's your decision. If you're afraid of needles, I understand. And she goes, my wife asks, does it get worse? The woman looks at her and goes, much, much worse. As soon as she said that, we heard a noise I could not possibly duplicate. No matter how hard I tried, and this is what made me think of it, it sort of sounded a little bit.
Get back, bro.
Yeah.
Right here.
No. Just put her in.
No.
Get back, bro.
Yeah.
That was it. You heard that? Like, what is that? This feral sound that just sort of echoed through the entire maternity ward. And that was coming from someone. And as soon as that noise came out, my wife goes, "Whoa!" She's like, "What was that?" And the nurse goes, "Oh, that's the birthing. That's the birthing yell. The baby should be coming out like right now." I mean, Lady Lawgic's like, "Give me the needle! Give me the needle! Give me the needle!" I'll never forget that noise because I was like, I could not duplicate it if I tried. It's this feral, primal sound.
Just put her in.
No.
Get back, bro.
Yeah.
That.
No.
Get your feet in the car.
Amazing. For the longest time, I'm trying to find someone who's like just making that sound in their day to day. And apparently, here comes Veronica Hannon to do it for us.
Get your feet in the car. Get your feet in the fucking car.
Hey, I'm right here.
No!
Get your feet in the car.
Who the fuck are?
Get
Don't
your
touch
feet
me.
in the car. You're a grown adult. You're acting like a kid.
Dan!
Hey,
Dan!
right here. I'm right here.
No!
inappropriate. You're overreacting.
Oh my God. Oh. So there you go. There you go. I'm an AG. You had to know about it because this could be something, there's potential for the next few weeks to be become like a thing that you're going to hear people saying, I'm an AG. I'm an AG. you're going to hear it. How do I know that? What do I say that you're likely to get that? Because the memes are off the hook. Please, I'm an AG. The memes are so good. Oh, so good. This is where I was. Please, I'm an AG. Oh, so good, these memes. Say AG one more time. I dare you. I double dare you. I'm an AG, damn it. The memes are completely AG. This was great. Maybe they're all alcoholics. Maybe all AGs are alcoholics. That would explain a lot. A lot. She's aging. Don't go. I'm an AG. Shot glass, broken heel. Hairbrush full of hair. Oh my God. The memes. The question what she claims. She violated Trump's civil rights. I'm an AG. That was such a great moment. She's an effing lawyer, so she knows. Yeah, well, that BS lawyer stuff, and that's not true. Oh my God. So there you go. There's your AG. Yeah, if you go into a bar anytime in the next month, you're gonna see a whole bunch of people probably telling you. I'm sure at so many of these frat parties, they'll probably have like I'm an AG party. I wouldn't know. I'm just speculating. What is that? I don't even know what we're seeing here. Anyway, so I wanted you all to be in the know, to be alert, because that's part of what my role, my function here is to keep you all moderately informed about socially, culturally relevant things. Nanner knows, God bless you, hitting me with 5. I don't know if I got it. I saw it when it came in. I did get it. Look at that. Following 5 people brought into the following courtesy of Nana's Nose 3133. That would include, please make sure you express your gratitude to Nana Nose 3133 for bringing you into the following, which is not at all a cult. Type of cult. Bob Gable 2691. Lori Kremen 6105. She old school. So wow, look at that. Jesus Freak T112. Beautiful messy ball. Look at that. And Sean Poe. Nana knows you got some real old OGs in here. In case some of you, I don't know, maybe beautiful messy ball is unaware of this. I am not the leader of the following. So I'm just a host. And thank you so much, Nana knows. Really appreciate you. Awesome. Strong sign language, hand signs, drunken gesticulation, warning to all before dropping the AG bomb. I missed that. I should have pulled that up when you referenced it. This was an older. She was very clearly inebriated, very clearly, and she did rondize herself. Nice. Aren't you telling our law Jude to get off the train? Seriously. I should have said I was an AG. Maybe that would have fixed everything for me. I don't know. And it never even crossed my mind. The lack of stop resisting screams white women. Yeah. Can you imagine them saying that? Can you imagine them saying that to anyone who wasn't a white woman? It's a good point. It's true. If you want, I could chop up that sound, send it to you, and you could put it on the stream deck, maybe for like $20 super chats. That's not bad. That'd be pretty good. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm saying instead of, because I'm not a big fan of this. I'm not. I feel like it takes too long. It's not. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I do. Well, thank you. As a retired labor and delivery nurse, your story absolutely cracked me up. Thank you. By the way, that scream and the epidural she got was like at, I don't know, 9:30 in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. It was definitely by 10 she had that epidural, because like the pain was so immense. That girl of mine did not pop out for another 13 hours. It was like 11 o'clock at night. It was a Friday. 11 o'clock at night, she popped out. So I don't know how anyone would make it through all of that. It was the smartest call in the world. Smartest call in the world. And I kept telling her, I was like, there's nothing gained by it. Now, I should mention that as she had more and more, but when you have the second kid, the third kid, as most people are aware, so the woman's body becomes more adjusted towards delivery, and the delivery times get much shorter. And by the time she had the last one, she did go natural. She ended up, I think on the fifth one. I mean, but they were all okay. So they're all natural. I'm saying like she didn't bother with the epidural on the last one, because she did feel as if it slowed down her ability to recover post-delivery. Like she felt as if like it sort of gave her like backaches and stuff for a few days, like for like up to like a week afterwards. And she very much regretted on my fifth child that she ended up getting an epidural like just like an hour before the kid popped out. She's like, she was really upset herself that she didn't tough it out, and she did for my youngest, and she was a trooper. But that's a very different thing. I mean, it's a very different thing. By the time you had 4 kids, even though there was a gap in between, your body's just shooting them out. That's like nothing. It knows what the body adjusts. Can you do labor pains past sundown on Friday? This is a very good question. Very, very good question. The answer to this is yes. Yeah, all medical issues that arise. In fact, that first one was Friday morning that we drove in there. My third child, she went into labor right as it was right at sunset on Friday. And there's all sorts of different steps you take whenever you're dealing with like a health thing on Shabbos. First and foremost, if it's a matter of life and death, which a labor delivery is always going to be considered something like that, it's like considered like it's not simply that it's like you're bending the rules of Shabbos. It's considering honoring Shabbos to make sure that you're taking care of someone so that they're not going to be risking life or limb. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, but there are different factors, like once she's already receiving care. So with that one, the hospital she was supposed to be going to was in Queens, and we're supposed to be spending Shabbos in Brooklyn. Because when you have older kids, in case what ends up happening is you can't call people on Shabbos. Call a doctor. You can call an emergency ambulatory service if it's a matter of life and limb. You can't start calling for babysitters because that's not addressing the medical need. So when you have 2 little ones, which when my third kid's born, so I got 2 kids at that point who were both like, who are under 5. So you can't. So you end up spending when you know that you're close to giving birth. What we end up doing is, and most Orthodox Jews would do, is you'll spend Shabbos by people who are sort of built-in babysitters, like parents of the mother or father or sibling. That way, the mother and her husband could just sort of go to the hospital and leave the kids behind without worrying about having a babysitter. So sort of built-in babysitting that way. But yeah, so you can call a cab if you want to do it that way. That's something else people do. They'll set up to have a cab. But then once she's there and she gives birth, like I can't drive back home. So she gave birth to my third kid in LIJ, which is in Long Island. And I ended up, my parents were living in Queens. I ended up walking back. It's on the very edge of Nassau, Long Island, Georgia. So I ended up walking like 7 miles back to my parents' house after she gave birth to the third kid. So we're driving there basically from like sunset till for like an hour to get in there, to get into the hospital. She gave birth like 5-6 hours later, and I was on child number 3. And then I walked back. So that's what ends up happening. But all the medical treatment and stuff like that is all permitted. All right. I didn't expect to get off into the whole labor delivery thing like that. This was a wild tangent. I apologize for that. I never when I was planning to talk about this, covering this story, that was not on the agenda. That was not. So yeah, I have a lot to talk to you about with respect to this whole Russia, Ukraine, Trump. There's a lot I need to cover with you. So let's start off with this. Let's start off with the plan. What was the plan all along, as broken down by Newsmax?
We can on the...
Let's make it a little louder.
Emerging strategy the president seems to be deploying to try to end this war. Step one, we'll show this to you now, was to get a meeting with Putin to hear where Russia was with its demands to end the war, how much they were willing to move. The president has already accomplished that with Friday's summit in Anchorage, Alaska, which we've seen. This is step two here, taking place today at the White House.
This was reported this morning.
Which American Agenda has brought you. The president is sitting down with Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelenskyy, giving him an update on Friday's talks with Putin to gauge where Ukraine is in regards to what Trump is proposing. You've also seen key European stakeholders. They are joining Zelenskyy at the meeting as backup, if you will, to kind of keep things on track. That'll happen, by the way, the multilateral meeting in the second hour. All right, so then step three you see here. This will signal things are really getting serious. This would be a face-to-face between Vladimir Putin, Vladimir Zelenskyy, potentially Trump, the trilat that Trump hinted at earlier. It's unclear at this point if Trump would be, though, in the room for this, or if Zelenskyy and Putin would hash this out privately, but all indications say Trump might be a part of this. This would show real progress being made towards a final settlement. But a few key sticking points, if you will, appear to be emerging to get to a final deal between these two leaders. And you see them here. Number one, Ukraine is demanding this, security guarantees. You're going to hear that a lot. This is to make sure there are no further Russian incursions.
And this is the devil's in the details. And we're going to hear about the security guarantees that Zelenskyy is looking for, which are just...
What does that look like? Are there European troops there to act as sort of a tripwire, if you will, or are they going to be receiving advanced arms to give them a military edge? These negotiations are ongoing. They're going to happen behind closed door. Another sticking point is this one, number two, if you will, the land swaps between Russia and Ukraine. It was reported that Putin made a demand on Friday of the entire region of Donetsk. That's the eastern part of Ukraine. Reportedly a red line for Trump. It's a red line for Ukraine. And the meeting almost ended in that moment. Now, Zelenskyy does not even want to give up Crimea, which Russians have occupied since 2014, annexing that illegally. So watch for that. As
they're going to get Crimea. Russia will not end this war without Crimea. It's a non-starter for Ukraine to get Crimea back at this point.
A flashpoint. NATO membership, that one's big. Remember this one. This is something Ukraine has called for many, many years. And President Trump says this one is a non-starter, as does President Putin. You would also need approval from every NATO country for admission. So it has to be unanimous. Hungary already saying, which is a part of NATO, they would vote against Ukraine's admission. So if all of that was not enough, you come to the very end here. International sanctions facing Russia. Trump had promised this severe consequences if Friday's meeting didn't yield major results. He hasn't announced any addition.
So in other words, he wanted Putin to basically agree to certain concessions. You sort of, before we continue on this, I just want to point out to you, if you're Russia, you can basically say, all right, we're just going to defend the regions we've already taken and stay here and declare this the new Russia, the new Russian border. And that's it. So we're not going to, and if you attack us, then we're going to attack you back. And for them, and this is why all these people who on the left and the war hawks, even some of them from the neocons of the right, there's sort of, this is why it feels like they're living in Lululand, because Putin could just say, all right, I'm going to build military bases in these now occupied areas, set up a brand new line here. And if Ukraine invades that territory we've conquered, I'm going to look at that as an invasion of Russia, and I'm going to go full scale and, you know, and go back to war. But he can basically say, I'm done fighting. I'll keep what we got. And that's it. And if you don't like it, lump it. So that's why when they start screaming, you got to give us back our territory, from Putin's perspective, he's like, no, you're now asking me to give you stuff that's mine. This is already mine. I know that this is the Russian mindset because I've read enough about Stalin. I mentioned on this show before that there's a book that I read in 1941. When Joseph Stalin in 1941 had Adolf's boot heel on his neck, and he's looking, and the Allies are looking to, you know, join together with him late 1941 and help bail him out as he's getting carved up. Like they're marching on Moscow. It's late summer 1941 into the early fall. And he's terrified that his own people are going to be killing him because of how badly he misjudged what Adolf was going to do. And that he didn't anticipate, refused to accept the reality that the Ribbentrop-Molotov treaty between Russia and Germany wasn't worth the paper it was written on. And that he left because out of a fear of antagonizing Adolf, he pretty much left his Western Front on the border with Germany far too poorly protected, and they're getting carved up for months, marching on Moscow. And he's terrified that his own folks are going to come in and assassinate him for the way he botched everything. He had he had sent his generals east to basically, because they were like, Moscow's going to be lost. So he sent them east and said, I'll join with you. And at the last minute, he decided not to get on that train. He stayed in Moscow. But during all of this, the reason I'm telling you this is because during all of this, the Allies were like, look, we'll help you. We'll send you stuff. Just promise that the stuff you carved up from Poland in the beginning part of the war, 1939, that you just took from them, yeah, when the war's over, you'll give that back. And Stalin's like, no way. This guy is facing certain death from within and without, and he still is like, no, that's our territory. I can't even tell you. I won't even lie to you and say that I'm going to do it. No. He could have even just lied. No, it's our territory. Why would I give that up? That's crazy. You just can't. You stole it from Poland 10 minutes ago. No, that's our territory. So that's why I tell you, Zelenskyy knows this. He knows Crimea is never coming back to him. So I would not be remotely surprised if when you have noted, Russian historian, whether he's accurate Russian or inaccurate, a lot of people say that he has revisionist history, but that's what he accepts as being reality of being a Russian philosophy. I am positive that he looks at these regions, Donetsk and Donbass regions, as being his. And why would he be negotiating? What are you going to ask him to give him Moscow next? Are you supposed to give up the Urals? What are you asking for? Why would he be giving that up? So, from his perspective, it'd be like, all right, you know what? I'll stop the war. I'll cease fire, and we'll just stop fighting, and I'll just build my military bases in these new Russian territories, and I'll guard it there, and everyone go away, and keep your stupid Kiev. Anyway, could do that. the areas that are being fought, retreat from, like I said, get back, basically pull his troops out of Kiev. But the areas that he's secured, just keep those. He could do that. He's playing with house money at this point. So all these people who are like, he has to give back all the territory he took. He may, but I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised. But Joe, you forget Zelenskyy is an AG.
National sanctions yet, but Putin is expecting relief from Europe as well. So where does that go in a final deal? All key things to watch as Trump conducts this high-wire diplomacy act, if you will. Katrina.
So there you go. So that's an outline as to what the strategy was, that he's basically got these 3 steps. First, meet with Putin, then meet with Zelenskyy, and the EU, and then try and hopefully have a face-to-face with those 3 gentlemen all sitting in a room together. That's the plan. And this is great. This is how Trump flexed, in case you missed this. You got busy over the weekend. Trump's flex on Putin when Putin showed up in Alaska was this is the most Trump thing ever. The most Trump thing ever.
Donald Trump flying those B-2 stealth bombers over Putin's head that may have been the strongest flex of all time.
It's the most Trump thing ever.
There's flexing on people with Lamborghinis, houses, women, watches, money, you name it. But you fly a B-2 stealth bomber over the head of Putin, and he goes like, you may hate Donald. A lot of people do. But he's a showman, and this is what showmen do. A B-2 stealth bomber over your enemy's head. He said, you want to talk peace, huh? Look at Putin's head. He's still looking up. Trump's like, yeah, come on, let's go up. Let's go up. And Putin's like, you got me there, bro. Look at bro's head. Trump's not even paying attention. He knew it too. That's the strongest flex in the history of the world. It is. Donald Trump.
I don't know if it's the strongest flex in the history of the world, but it was a flex. It was totally a flex. And it really was the most Trumpian thing imaginable. It's like, let me just remind you what you're dealing with here. Just remind you what you're dealing with here. I get so annoyed at the stupidity of people who think that Putin controls Trump. I think this is the dumbest take imaginable. I think that geopolitically, if you look at the recent history, you look at how they deal with each other, there is no way, shape, or form that Trump looks remotely intimidated by Putin. Quite the contrary. The fact that he's willing to flex like that. Can you imagine for a second Obama doing something like that, much less Biden? No. Obama, who like the day he became president was going around saying, I'm so sorry for the sins we've done. I'm so sorry. Those weak, feckless leaders. You think any of them be flying a B-2 bomb, a B-2 stealth over arguably one of the 2 biggest enemies that he has over their head? No. None of them would. All sitting there just because they're bootlickers. They're world leaders who are bootlickers. But we're not talking about the EU showing up just yet. We're getting there. I wanted to share with you here, body language expert breaking down the meeting that from what we were able to see, what the public was able to see, the interaction between Trump and Putin. So I thought this was interesting.
Let's begin with the clap. The clap by President Trump as Putin is approaching him. What do you make of the clap?
Now, the left basically sees the clap here, and you're like, oh my God, he's applauding Putin. No. This is a way of being welcoming. This is a way of him. He knows this is my terrain. This is, I think, choosing Alaska because we bought Alaska from Russia was an interesting choice. Basically, you're my terrain now. And I think that the clap there is to say, you know what? I'm excited to have you come here. I'm excited to have you. I'm happy that you're amenable enough to try and allow me to try and bring peace here. And it's applauding the willingness of Putin to actually show up, because a lot of world leaders would be like, no, I'm not even interested in that. So he's going to give him some deference. You get a lot more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So this is what he does.
Michael, this is a moment. Remember, when Trump gets to that carpet there, he's waiting. He's in the authority position. By using that clap, he's taking some of the authority out of the moment, going from host into receiver. He offers a rapport and an opportunity to lighten the moment through that.
Right there, the little shoulder tap, the little elbow tap. You would never do that. You want to know how you know that's dominance? That's a display of dominance of you're in my house. Because if you went into the White House, you wouldn't do that to the president. President might do it to you. You might not do it to, you would never think of doing that to the president. Just sort of like tapping his arm like that. Because it's a way of saying you're okay in my book. It's a way of passing judgment in a way that's polite and showing respect, but implying you need my respect. Like I'm giving you my respect, but you need my respect, which is why you would never give Donald Trump a tap on the arm. I'm giving you more than what this body expert is going to give you. So he makes reference to it, but I want to break it down a little bit more. That's what that little shoulder, that's what that little arm tap is. It's a way of saying, I respect you. I appreciate you. But it's it's almost like you would do, like, ruffling the hair of a little kid. You're not going to do it to an adult. You're not going to ruffle their hair. Right? But it's a way of saying, good job. And that's a way of showing friendship at the same time as showing you're the one in control. That's what that little tap there is. That's what that little tap of the arm is doing.
From host into receiver, he offers a rapport and an opportunity to lighten the moment through that clap. It's followed by a smile as he puts his hand out in this very open palm gesture. It's an interesting hand move that he does in order to clap. And that
even touching the hand the second time is a way of basically of doing the same thing. It's like I'm taking control of this situation.
So the clap just takes some of the intensity out of the moment.
And we showed the handshake as well. The handshake, the warm greeting between them. By the way, with regard to the clap, I hear a lot of criticism like, why would he clap for Putin? I don't have your expertise. But I took that as it's like, hey, Putin, I'm happy you're here, like Chris Ulrich.
I agree with you. Putin does try grabbing like a little control back by lifting his arm up at him. It doesn't look like he actually makes contact. I'm not sure. It's interesting. It's interesting.
On my show today. All right, we're going to do this.
Yeah, keep in mind, a clap moment like this, we'll see Tonight Show hosts and other folks who do this. It's like, let's get ready to do this. The handshake that follows that is a moment of opportunity for them to connect. And that handshake, Michael, lasts for 10 seconds as they build rapport. They're smiling at each other. They're making eye contact as they're looking at each other. This is a moment of rapport building and parity. And even in those moments, keep in mind, Michael, the handshake is a negotiation, an ongoing signal for power. Here, Trump shows deference, followed by pulling the hand in and using these touch gestures to reestablish dominance as they walk down, showing he's in control, he's in command.
This is not their first rodeo.
Correct.
Clearly, each of them thought in advance. Am I going to smile? What do I want to transmit? It's the farthest thing from a.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And that's exactly what I'm saying. You don't enter with aggression.
Candid moment, that you're ever going to find. All right, we have some behind the scenes footage. Can we go to the behind the scenes footage and have Chris Ulrich analyze what he sees in this? Hopefully you've seen it or can watch it now. Tell me what you see.
I'm looking at it now, Michael. It is Trump in the middle here. It's an ongoing conversation. Now, you got to frame yourself to fame yourself, we always see. There's Trump in the middle, kind of holding court. He's talking to the president. He's talking to the advisor. And him being in the middle, it's cordial. It's kind. They're open. They're not in each other's faces. Even the handshake moment is like a follow-up moment. They also know probably the cameras are on them. And you're right. That initial handshake is a climax moment of that engagement. Like it's staged, and here it's a little more behind the scenes. But even here, Trump does his effort here where he'll pat the other person's hand. It's a dominance gesture. It's like he's in control. He's in command. That is the narrative that they're looking for in this ongoing at this summit.
100%. 100%. Okay, so that was the meeting. And now coming out of that meeting, so the left was all upset that I guess they expected Trump to punch Putin in the face and that he's basically abandoning Ukraine and American values because he didn't punch him in the face or something. So Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio dealing with Margaret Brennan.
You know, there is concern from the Europeans that President Zelensky is going to be bullied.
I don't know if she knows how weak she makes Zelensky sound. It's like how weak can you make him sound? It's like the nature of the question is Trump is the enemy and that he's going to be bullied. So they got to keep Trump in line. What utter disrespect.
Into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow. Can you?
No, it isn't. That's not why they're
them?
coming as back. That's not true. No, but that's not why. That's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied.
Now, I do want to be clear with you. The way he was saying that, it did remind me of that Martin Short character of that lawyer Nathan. What was his name? Third. Oh gosh, it's killing me. But Saturday Night Live had a great character, a recurring character when Martin Short was on, I think 1986. Nathan Thurman, I don't know, who was continually like, he's like, that's not true. Why would you say that? I don't think that's true. I don't know what you're talking about. He's smoking on a cigarette. Nathan Thurman, is that what it was? It's ridiculous. This is crazy. No, it's not. No, it's not. Well, we have the documents that show that your client is the one who set fire to his own building trying to collect on an insurance scam. That's ridiculous. Why would you say that? No, it's not. You don't have that. No, you don't. I like Rubio. I like what he's done the first 6 months here, but he definitely sounds somewhat defensive with that. But still, I like the fact that he wouldn't accept the premise that she's throwing out there because her premise is crap.
No, but that's not why. That's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming.
February Oval Office
they're coming here
in
tomorrow
front of television cameras where President Zelensky.
Do you know how many meetings we've had since then?
Oh no, I know, and I was just up in Alaska watching the one with Vladimir Putin where a red carpet rolled out.
No, but it was Zelensky.
Look at them, like they're so afraid he rolled out a red carpet for him. Oh my God!
Had more meetings. We've had one meeting with Putin and like a dozen meetings with Zelensky. So but that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're coming here tomorrow because we've been working with the Europeans. We talked to them last week. There were meetings in the UK over the previous weekend.
And they said President Trump was going to demand a ceasefire
as early as Thursday.
Yeah, that's what he's looking for, a ceasefire, as in a treaty, idiot.
No, but you said that they're coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming here tomorrow. Oh, this is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming here tomorrow because Trump is going to bully Zelensky into a bad deal. We've been working with these people for weeks on this stuff. They're coming here tomorrow because they chose to come here tomorrow. We invited them to come. We invited them to come. The president invited them to come.
But the president told those European leaders last week that he wanted a ceasefire. The president went on television, said he would walk out of the meeting if Vladimir Putin didn't agree with one. He said there would be severe consequences if he didn't agree to.
What do you think? You thought that as soon as he met with Putin, all of a sudden there would be like, that's a deal? The treaty's done?
One. He said he'd walk out in 2 minutes. He spent 3 hours talking to Vladimir Putin, and he did not get one. So there's
because obviously things happened during that meeting. Well, because obviously look, our goal here is not to stage some production for the world to say, oh, how dramatic, he walked out. Our goal here is to have a peace agreement to end this war.
And that is what the left is all about, the dramatic moment. Not results, but oh my gosh, you saw that? He showed him. He walked out on him. That's what the left like applauds, like seals. Oh, you did so, you walked out. Oh, look at you. And go back next week and everyone's fighting, dying. But look at what he did. So pathetic.
okay? And obviously we felt, and I agreed, that there was enough progress, not a lot of progress, but enough progress made in those talks to allow us to move to the next phase. If not, we wouldn't be having Zelenskyy flying all the way over here. We wouldn't be having all the Europeans coming all the way over here. Now understand and take with a grain of salt, I'm not saying we're on the verge of a peace deal, but I am saying that we saw movement, enough movement to justify a follow-up meeting with Zelenskyy and the Europeans, enough movement for us to dedicate even more time to this. You talk about the sanctions. Look, at the end of the day, if peace is not going to be possible here, and this is just going to continue on as a war, people will continue to die by the thousands. The president has that option to then come in and impose new sanctions. But if he did this now, the moment the president puts those additional sanctions, that's the end of the talks. You've basically locked in at least another year to year and a half of war and death and destruction. We may unfortunately wind up there, but we don't want to wind up there. We want to wind up with a peace deal that ends this war so Ukraine can go on with the rest of their lives and rebuild their country and be assured that this is never going to happen again. That's the goal here. We're going to do everything possible to make that happen if it's doable. It will require both sides to make concessions. It will require both sides to get things they're asking for. That's how these deals are made, whether we like it or not.
Look, I mocked him that he sounded a little bit like Nathan Thurm coming out of the gate, but that was in order to enable him to like basically put Margaret Brennan in her place, saying you're basically full of crap in that claim and it's pretty stupid, and you have to be like come back to reality here as to like how we actually get a deal done. Like just join us, as opposed to like he's got to march on out of there if Putin doesn't get what he wants in 2 minutes. Idiot. We have to protect him from being bullied. Such a left-wing woke idea. It is 100%. Ukraine has held up with our help, but none of our troops. So fairly good. I think he can hold his own by now. I would hope so. I would hope so. He's been in this war for 4 years. I would hope so. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Look, Margaret, a decent podcast lasts 2 or 3 hours. Do you know what a podcast is? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Indeed. Every decent podcast should last 2 hours. That's right. Here's Rubio in friendlier and where he's able to actually better express himself in friendlier terrain here with Rubio and Bartiromo.
This war is only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. You've seen that in the escalation and the attacks.
So yeah, this area here, just to review, because it's been a while since we looked at this map. You got the Donetsk region over here, Luhansk, Donbas, Sevastopol, Crimea. If Putin probably has his map drawn like this already. This is what it is. He's like, all right, look, you declare peace with us, and we'll whatchamacallit. We'll stop bombing Kiev.
Russia's economy is now 100% full-time war footing. They are producing munitions. The Ukrainians are as well. Both sides are hitting each other very, very hard. And the war is only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. So he's trying to do everything he can to bring it to an end. But people that are out there talking what they don't know with all these stupid leaks and things of that nature, they all want to just sound important. They don't know what they're talking about. The president's been very clear. In terms of like what Zelenskyy is going to agree to, that's up to them to decide. They're going to have to decide what they're willing to give and ultimately what they're going to get, what they're going to demand as well. Both sides are going to, but here's what I can tell you for certain. You can't have a peace deal between two warring factions unless both sides agree to give up something and both sides agree that the other side gets something, right? Otherwise, if one side gets everything they want, that's not a peace deal. It's called surrender. And I don't think this is a war that's going to end anytime soon on the basis of surrender. So this is tough stuff. I mean, it's difficult to bring these two sides together. We made some progress, we believe, and now we'll have to follow up on that progress. And ultimately, where this should lead is to a meeting between the three leaders, between Zelenskyy, Putin, and President Trump, where we could finalize. But we got to get this thing closer before we get to that point.
And what he's saying is something that every litigator knows when it comes to negotiating any sort of talks, that it's a well-established principle that almost certainly predates the existence of this country and likely goes back thousands of years, that the only fair deal is one where both sides feel like they lost. That's when you know you got to a fair deal, when both sides feel like they lost. Not both sides feel like they won. Both sides feel like they lost. So he's correct. And when you're saying here, Allegan, that Rubio is growing on me and I hate that, he's growing on a lot of us. But you shouldn't hate that. And the reason you shouldn't hate that is because part of what I try to do is I try to help us understand that everybody out there who we follow and like or admire or dislike or detest, they have, every one of them, you can find something about them that you can admire or something that would properly draw your scorn. So it's okay to say, look, I like the work this guy's been doing for the last 6 months. The reason many of us were skeptical when he was first nominated for the position of Secretary of State is because he spent a career as a neocon. So we should always be on guard to see signs of that cropping back up. But yeah, what he's been doing in public since his appointment has been remarkable. If you ignore his history as a U.S. senator and some of the positions and statements he made in that role, and just look at Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, yeah, he's been great. Now, if you tell me that if he runs for presidential election sometime in his future that you're skeptical of signing up with it because you don't want to invest in this guy, I get that. I understand that. That's caution. But there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I like the work Rubio has done as Secretary of State. And I would agree with you on that. And if he screws up, I'll call him out. Same way with Trump. I love so much about what Trump has done, but when he does something I don't like, I'm like, I don't like this. I still love Trump. That's part of being a mature critical thinker, where there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. But yeah. Anyhow, so as we've been laying out earlier today, little Vladimir Zelensky showed up to meet Trump. There's the meeting when he first showed up. I think he was a little late too. They're making jokes about his clothing because he actually isn't wearing his stupid army garb, but wearing a suit. No tie, but a suit. I think that's his way of saying, I'm not caving. Because he feels like if I put on a tie, that's caving. That's what I think he's trying to show. No, I'm a tough guy. I'm not going to cave and put on a tie. So I'll put on the suit, but I'm not going to put on the tie, which I think is actually somewhat childish.
We love them. We love them.
This is classic Napoleon complex right here. I'll put on the suit jacket. I'm not putting on a tie.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, I'm not talking to you, people. I'm out here to show respect to Zelensky so I can help push these talks along. And I do think that was a nice gesture by Trump to basically, greet him at the door as a way of welcoming him in, to try and show him, I'm going to give you some respect. It is Rubio was such a deadhead in the past, but I can give him some grace, but ladybugs can never be forgiven. No, she's terrible. I only say she because it's Lindsey Graham ladybugs. All right. What do I have next here? So, in order not to keep you all in suspense as to how things went today, this is what Trump had to say when it was all over. But we're going to go through a lot as to what went down today. This is the synopsis, where Trump said, I had a very good meeting with distinguished guest President Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine, President Emmanuel Macron of France, President Alexander Stubb of Finland, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of Italy, Prime Minister Keir Starmer of the UK, Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, Friedrich Merz, President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, in the White House, which ended in a further meeting in the Oval Office. During the meeting, we discussed security guarantees for Ukraine, which guarantees would be provided by the various European countries with a coordination with the United States of America. Everyone is very happy about the possibility of peace for Russia, Ukraine at the conclusion of the meetings. I called President Putin and began the arrangements for a meeting at a location to be determined between President Putin and President Zelensky. After that meeting takes place, we will have a trilat, which would be the two presidents plus myself. He's angling for that Nobel Prize. He's like, I don't want people forgetting that this is my baby. But I do think that he's a helpful force there, which would be, and frankly, he actually deserves the Nobel Peace Prize compared to most people who have won it over the last several decades, in particular, the last American president to win one. Again, this was a very good early step for a war that has been going on for almost 4 years. Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Special Envoy Stephen Witkoff are coordinating with Russia and Ukraine. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So he thinks it went well. He thinks today overall was a pretty good day. Pretty good day. He had other thoughts, though. We'll get to that soon. In fact, you know what? Because this was another thing he sent out today, which is President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. Remember how it started. No getting back Obama giving Crimea 12 years ago without a shot being fired. And no going into NATO by Ukraine. Some things never change. So, yeah, that was yesterday. That was how he set this whole thing up. Just it was his way, I think, of sort of putting Zelensky on record, because that was, like, as I said, that was at 9:17 p.m. yesterday. So I guess things went better in that sense. This was Zelensky's response, so to speak, without directly saying, this is my response. It wasn't like a quote tweet kind of thing, but this was Zelensky's response last night. I've already arrived in Washington. Tomorrow, I'm meeting with President Trump. Tomorrow, we're also speaking to European leaders. I'm grateful to POTUS for the invitation. We all share a strong desire to end this war quickly and reliably. I don't believe he's telling the truth there. I think he's flat out lying. I don't think he wants the war to end. And peace must be lasting, not like it was years ago when Ukraine was forced to give up Crimea and part of our east, part of our Donbass. Putin simply used it as a springboard for a new attack. Or when Ukraine was given so-called security guarantees in 1994. That's crap. That's ridiculous. But they didn't work. Or they really didn't? They really didn't? Because they seemed to work for like 20 years. So what are you talking about? Of course, Crimea should not have been given up then, just as Ukrainians did not give up Kiev, Odessa, or Kharkiv after 2022. Ukrainians are fighting for their land. Well, how many are left? For their independence. Now our soldiers have success in Donetsk and Sumy regions. I am confident that we will defend Ukraine effectively, guarantee security, and that our people will always be grateful to President Trump, everyone in America, and every partner and ally for their support and invaluable assistance. Russia must end this war, which it itself started. And I hope that our joint strength with America, with our European friends, will force Russia into a real peace. Thank you. I'll tell you right now, Vladimir, I'll tell you right now. We should start by basically saying, you want our security guarantees, you're going to pay for it from your own personal finances that you, at least in part, from your own personal finances that you lifted from all the monies that we advanced to you. So we'll leave you with $1 million. Give us access to all of your bank accounts and let us clean out the rest of it. We'll leave over $1 million for you. Are you still willing? You're still fighting for those security guarantees? Because I guarantee you, he'd say, hell no. Guarantee. Billions of dollars. Now he's like basically demanding. He's making his crazy demands as far as this is what we need. This is what we're going to get. We're not going to stop fighting. Oh yeah. I don't know. I don't understand why it is that there's a reluctance to tell him, go after yourself. GFY. Go to hell. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's our job to make sure we give them security guarantees. That's just the tip of the iceberg. That is the tip of the iceberg. This is But I want to watch with you together with you the meeting or the press conference which featured Trump and Zelensky in the Oval Office. Should I do this first or let's do this first. So this is a lengthier video. This is like 26 minutes, which I've seen very little of this, only like little clips here and there. So True Social needs character limit. Trump is not the same when he can write it all out. I agree with you. People think that 140 or 280 characters is a terrible thing. No. You become a sharper writer if you have to condense it. I think this war has everything to do with the Brest-Litovsk Treaty between Russia and the former USSR territories. I agree with you also. I've talked about the origin of this war in the past, where Russia is supposed to have the right of first refusal, and EU wants to deal with Ukraine directly without giving that right of first refusal to Russia. This is a finance war. Everyone loves like that. This is a war over money. That's ultimately what this is. This is a war over money. If they would have, if Ukraine would have given security guarantees to the K2 pipeline, I don't think they invaded. I don't think any of this happens. That and promise them no NATO, I think we would have, there'd be 1 million Ukrainians who would be alive today who are now resting in peace. Or not. Why do you think we're getting billions of dollars in weapons? It was not because we liked them, but we said we'd support them to give up nukes. That's the official story. That's the official story. Or you think this was because it was honorable? That's what you think? That's what you think, Galligan? We just felt it was more honorable to do that? That's the official story. The official story is, because we promised them. I've gone through the guarantees that were made back in 1994. There's nothing there that says we're going to defend them. It doesn't say that. It's been like 2 years since I looked at them. It doesn't say we're going to defend them from war. It certainly isn't that we're going to sit there as a shield where we're going to be protecting them and financing them and putting our own grandchildren in debt to make sure that they can retain the integrity of their borders. There's nowhere that it says that. And nowhere that doesn't imply that they're anything like a Schedule 5 NATO nation. It's just not there. Basically said that the best you can read into it, from what I recall, is that if Russia does things we don't like, we'll sanction, but not go billions of dollars deeper into our deficit to protect them. If you think I'm mistaken, tell me what I should pull up to that you think says otherwise. So no, I don't think this was about nobility. I think that, like everything in the world, every time you have mixed motivations for something, every time there's mixed motivations, what ends up happening is, and this is on a personal level, on both a micro and a macro level, this is something you all should remember for yourselves. Okay, I talk about personal growth all the time. I brought this up. I brought this particular issue up many times before, but it cannot be stressed enough. A lot of times when we're trying to make a decision, we're trying to think, should we do A or not do A or not A? Which direction should we go? And we'll start making a list of pros and cons in our mind. And when we're listing all the pros and the cons and stuff like that, some of the reasons that we have for doing A are noble and some are ignoble, meaning the opposite of nobility. That they seem kind of selfish instead of being selfless. So a lot of times we have mixed motivations. Some of the reasons are wow, I'd really love to help these people out. Plus, I'll probably make more money out of doing it this way. And you're likely going to say it's 90% the virtuous reasons. And 10%, yeah, okay, you know what? That's a nice little gravy on top. The reality is that is your rationalization, which is talking to you there. And the numbers, the number of percentages are, you can usually flip-flop them that they're exactly opposite. That it's 90% your own personal benefit. and 10% that, oh yeah, wow, good, it's noble too. But we don't like looking at the situation that way, because that makes us feel like selfish creatures, which is kind of a little bit of a mistake, because selfishness is what's behind capitalism. It's behind a driving force as to what makes us do what we do. It's an innate part of who we are as people. It's something that we should continually try to fight against, but that doesn't mean that, and certainly keep it from becoming too consuming in our perspectives on things. But the reality is that it does have a beneficial thing in that it creates a drive in us to look out for ourselves. It's almost like it's an offshoot from your survival instinct. Much as you have a survival instinct that you want to stay alive, so too you want to look out for your own self-interests. So that is not a inherently evil thing, but it feels, when it, to the degree that we engage in selfishness, it always is going to feel ugly. Now, when it's selfishness that's actually costing others, that's impacting others in another way, that's when it's reaching an unhealthy type of perspective. When that's when you're allowing it to go unchecked, and in a way that's your negative impact on society. So, someone says, well, look, the selfishness in me is that some psychotic person who really enjoys killing. So he'd be like, well, look, I really enjoy it. So like, I'm looking out for myself. So that's where you can easily assess that, that the person's selfishness has gone out of control. And frankly, there's far too many examples of this that we encounter on a day-to-day basis that I don't need to start drawing examples for you. The point that I'm getting at, though, is when you bring this up, why do you think we're getting billions of dollars in weapons? I do not believe that was in any way a factor that was significant. I think that was a very significant selling point. I think that's what the media wanted us to believe. I think that's what our legislature wanted us to believe. I think that's what Biden and his administration wanted us to believe. But I do not for a second think that, and they happen to also get rich in the process and get their campaign war chest stuffed full of cash, that was just a secondary side benefit. No. 98% of what their motivation was their own self-interest. And the reason that that's a negative in this context is because you have to question whether this is actually even a noble cause. Whether casus belli is actually something that was potentially very wrong and very evil, and ultimately cost the lives of 2 million people, half of them being Russian, the other half being Ukrainian. So in that sense, the casus belli, which is the cause of war, if anything, it almost feels as if it was like this could have been avoided. If from the get-go, before Russia invaded, I was describing how to fix this entire thing before it ends up escalating into a war in ways that would actually be beneficial to America, but not be beneficial to Congress and their war chests. So yeah, I don't think that we get in billions of dollars in weapons because of this. I think that was a nice fig leaf veneer as far as, look how noble we are. We're standing up for our word, even though it wasn't what our word was. But reinterpretation of what our word was in order to give a cloak of nobility over what was actually selfishness and devastation for Ukraine and countless people. Countless Ukrainian soldiers, civilians, and Russian soldiers. So, yeah, I don't look at this as remotely noble. I think it's just the opposite. Did they all put Booster on Z seats so he matched Trump's height? I don't know how they did that. That's a good question. Maybe he's slumping? He's sitting up? I don't know. That's a good question. Congratulations to Andrew Bailey, a new FBI co-deputy. What? He is? No way. Get out. Okay. I'm a huge Andrew Bailey fan. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. I don't know how I missed this. Okay, we got to pause because you guys don't know how good this AG is. He is the greatest AG in America. This dude is based and smart. Missouri AG Andrew Bailey stepping down to become FBI co-deputy director. Oh, yes. So I guess what with Dan Bongino? Frankly, this is the guy I wanted to become our AG. I wanted him to have Pam Bondi's job. That's what I wanted. I want Andrew. He's the one I was calling from. Give me Andrew Bailey. Missouri AG Andrew Bailey, staunch supporter of President Trump, announced he's resigning from his state post, take a high-ranking leadership position in the Federal Bureau of Investigation. His last day as AG will be September 8th. He announced Monday. After that, will serve as co-deputy director alongside Dan Bongino, who fell out of Trump's good graces amid infighting surrounding the contested Epstein files. Yeah, ultimately, he's going to end up taking over for Dan Bongino. I think Dan Bongino is not long for that job. My life has been defined by a call to service. I'm once again answering that call. This time is at the national level. Bailey said in a statement. Oh, that is awesome. This guy has fought against the Biden administration. He was the one leading the charge on the Twitter files and censorship, and he's fighting against wokeness and DEI, fighting against Mayorkas and the border. So much that this guy has been fighting for. Every time you see him in a national story, he is taking the side of the angels. So, and presenting himself as someone who knows how to hold himself in a public court in ways that are going to be powerful and effective. So, huge fan of Andrew Bailey. He sued New York State over Trump's 2024 hush money criminal trial. He's an Army veteran who served the Show Me State's Attorney General for just 2.5 years, put forward repeated lawsuits against former President Joe Biden's administration, attacking his policies on subjects including student loan forgiveness, environmental issues, transgender rights. He also sued New York State over Trump's 2024 hush money criminal trial held at the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse, insisting that the entire deal was overt meddling in the 2024 election, that somehow impacted Missouri voters' ability to receive relevant election-related information. Anyway, and when his final acts as AG, they defended the state's stringent anti-abortion laws, despite a voter-approved constitutional amendment that would enshrine the right to abort in Missouri. Earlier this year, Bailey's office cashed in $24.5 billion award in a lawsuit against China for hoarding protective equipment during COVID, in a case filed by his predecessor, Eric Schmidt, who left the post after winning a seat in the U.S. Senate. He's been phenomenal. Yeah, I would expect that he's going to end up taking over for. Thank you for alerting me to that, Matthew. And I would expect that he's going to end up taking over. I know that, Joe, but those who say we should support them, we've already done that. Z thinks this goes on forever. I don't think it does. I think our limit has been reached and glad Trump may end it. I hope so. I hope so. I'm very afraid he's going to make commitments that are going to end up bogging down our children and our children's children and countless generations to come. I thought that Pshara, which Besden pushed, was to create a win-win situation, not lose-lose one. What Moshe G is referring to here is an alternative dispute resolution center known as Bet Din or Besdin. We Orthodox Jews refer to as Besdin. It's basically a Jewish court system. And much like any other arbitration system, like you have the AAA or any other ADR, alternative dispute resolution, Orthodox Jews in particular are likely, hopefully, to agree that in lieu of fighting in court, filing in the Supreme Court of the state of New York, for example, that they will go to Besdin. That's how we would pronounce it. Israelis would say Bet Din, which means house of judgment. That's what the Hebrew term means. Din means judgment, bet means house. So, and they are judged in accordance with what does Jewish law say in this particular circumstance, who's in the right, who's in the wrong. And there's whatever amount of texts there are as far as governing American law, it's no less voluminous if you're going through Jewish law. And what he's referencing here is that when litigants will go into Bet Din, so normally if you go to Bet Din, whoever ends up winning, whatever the award is, then you would go to American court and confirm it in court. So what he's referring to is that when you go to Beis Din, the court's first job is to ask the litigants whether they want to engage in a din or pshara. Din is what does the law say? Pshara means we're going to try and work a compromise. So we're not necessarily going to follow the strict letter of what the law is, but the litigants both agree that they would rather do pshara, which means basically, find a happy medium here. That's the role that Beis Din will play. Will sort of work as mediators rather than as a court of judges sitting in judgment. And they're supposed to encourage the litigants to try and push them into accepting that in lieu of din, because we feel as if that's more likely to result in a more satisfactory outcome for everyone. So he's saying that when you go to Beis Din, you're supposed to be looking for a win-win situation, not a lose-lose one. I haven't done enough Beis Din to tell you what they do and what it's supposed to come out of it. I'm just telling you that the reality is what I expressed, that most people look at a healthy resolution, that you sort of know you got what was the right outcome when both sides feel as if they lost. That's just reality. You feel as if you got a punch in the gut. You should feel a punch in the gut. One of the very last cases I handled, I was trying to close down my practice. Ended up getting resolved in mediation. I was representing a defendant who was sued. I'm not going to get into details. He was sued by a much more powerful entity. He settled. And they said they wanted certain monies from him. He ended up settling for, certain pennies on the dollar and a payment plan. And, the totals that he's paying is considerable. It's over a lengthy period of time that he's in amounts he's able to swallow. And the stress of the entire ordeal, which could have been far worse, far more destructive, were alleviated. So he didn't want to have to sign it. It was a gut punch to sign it. But after we signed it, he called me up literally singing and thanking me over and over again, saying I saved his life. So in the moment, he's like, I don't know. I don't want to do this. I don't know. It's so hard. Like, whatever. It's a lot of money. Paying many tens of thousands of dollars, but it's in lieu of basically potentially being owing over, 7 figures. So, and it's in amounts he's able to swallow, and now the pressure is gone. So that's just the way it ends up working normally. Bongino doesn't like the way Bondi is running things. Remember when he threatened to quit? Bailey is his replacement to train, in my opinion. I agree with this assessment 100%. I think this is to enable Bongino to leave without creating a void. That's what I think Bailey is. I don't know. He might ultimately end up replacing Kash Patel, but he's a voice that I trust. I would give a lot of rope to Andrew Bailey, and maybe that's a healthy way to sort of try and clean up the whole Epstein mess, as if he ends up becoming the face of that, and we start getting more transparency. Maybe that's a way for Trump to clean this mess up best. I don't know. Joe, did you ever clear that judgment against you? No. Oh, it's still out there. Thanks for bringing that up. We appreciate that. All right, let's eavesdrop now. I got one thing here. It was Duckfat says Rube may be one of the very few people ever that took the fake it till you make it philosophy and made it work. Kudos, little Marco. It's a good point. It's a good point. Maybe you trust him, Duckfat? Do you trust him? Do you trust him? Do you?
And I think progress is being made, very, very substantial progress in many ways. We had a good meeting, as you know.
just a short while ago with the president of Russia. And I think there's a possibility that something could come out of it. And today's meeting is very important. We have, I guess, the seven very powerful leaders from Europe. And we're going to be meeting with them right after this meeting. And thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. If I can, first of all, thank you for invitation and thank you very much for your efforts, personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war. Thank you. And using this opportunity, many thanks to your wife, First Lady of the United States. She sent a letter to Putin about our children, abducted children, and
Maybe it's a little louder.
my wife, she, First Lady of Ukraine, she gave the letter. It's not to you, to your wife.
Oh, I want it.
Yeah. So we are saying this sensitive topic. Yeah. Yes, please. And thanks to our partners and that you supported this format. And after our meeting, we can have leaders who are around us, the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Finland, EU, NATO. I mean, all partners around Ukraine supporting us. Thanks to them. And thank you very much for the invitation.
I want to, if you just give me a moment, if you indulge me for a moment, I want to see if I can pull this up on YouTube where I can get perhaps better, crisper audio. So if you give me a moment, I thought that was going to be good enough, but really, I'm not happy with the audio quality. And I'd also rather close caption, because if I do close caption, I can play it a little faster and you'll still be able to catch everything that's being said, because Vladimir will talk a little too softly at times for that. So let me see if I can pull up. Last time he was in here, it was quite a show.
Not too long.
Very short. Very short.
Between us.
That something could come out of it. And today's meeting is very important. We have, I guess, the seven very powerful leaders from Europe. And we're going to be meeting with them right after this meeting. And thank you very much for being here.
Thanks so much, Mr. President. If I can, first of all, thank you for invitation and thank you very much for your right. She gave the letter. It's not to you, to your wife.
Oh, I want it.
Yeah. So we are saying this sensitive topic. Yes, please. And thanks to our partners and that you supported this format. That after our meeting, we can have leaders who are around us, UK, France, Germany, Italy, Finland, EU, NATO. I mean, all partners around Ukraine supporting us. Thanks to them and thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you very much for being here.
President Trump.
Yes, Peter.
Thank you, President Trump. So, President Zelenskyy, you say in a post on X today, Russia must end this war, which it itself started. President Trump, you say President Zelenskyy of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to. Which is it?
Well done. Tough question from Peter Ducey.
No, I think that's true. I think we're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
And, is this the end of the road for American support for?
Oh, he's saying trilats, as in trilateral. I saw that word earlier. I haven't seen it used in that shortened form the way he wrote it in his post.
Ukraine. Is today's meeting deal or no deal?
I can never say that. It's never the end of the road. People are being killed and we want to stop that. So I would not say it's the end of the road. No, I think we have a good chance of doing it. It's been almost 4 years now that a lot of people were killed last week. A lot of people last week. I mean,
trust him as much as I trust someone with a German accent, something again on a train, which is still more than I trust either Vlad or any Democrat. That's fair enough. I assume you're talking about Rubio. So this time he's thankful after he was dressed down by a JD at last meeting. Yeah. Trump did a really subtly masterful job of getting around what was potentially a very difficult question there. Where he basically was like, well, look, we're going to try and resolve this and get to everything. And he's basically like, I don't want to get into the whole posturing. He said this, I said this. Peter Ducey's asking a very reasonable question for a reporter to ask. And he's masterfully saying, well, let's see how things unfold. as opposed to like being like, no, I'm right or he's wrong. I meant this, whatever. He just sort of said, oh, let's see how things unfold. That's skilled diplomacy.
Millions of people killed, but a lot of people last week, for whatever reason, a big number, a lot of soldiers, on both sides. And I know the president, I know myself, and I believe Vladimir Putin wants to see it ended.
And as you met with Putin on Friday, today you've got President Zelensky here. As you listen to Russia and Ukraine, which side has the better cards right
Well, I don't
now?
want to say that. I'm just here to be, look, this isn't my war. This is Joe Biden's war. He's the one that had a lot to do with this happening, and we want to get it ended. And we want it to end good for everybody. We want it to end good. The people of Ukraine have suffered incredibly.
I like that he always calls it Biden's war, because it is Biden's war, because Biden could have stopped this war before it happened. It's true. It's true. And it's a good thing for him to continually say that. And it's obviously self-serving, because this way, like if he ends the war, it's like Biden brings war, I brought peace. And it only helps reaffirm what a mistake it was to allow the Democrats to do what they did in 2020. So yeah, this is but I think it's a healthy thing. I like that he calls it Biden's war. Not Putin's war, not Zelensky's war. No, it's Biden's war. Plus, he's not going to have anyone of the world leaders really arguing with him, because they're looking to come into like peace talks. You're not going to sit here saying, no, it's his whatever. They're going to say that Russia was the aggressor. Russia's going to say we were just justified, but referring to it as Biden's war, I think is a wise move.
President Zelensky, are you prepared?
Peter Doocy is basically the biggest cojones in the room. Everyone's talking, and he's like, I'm going to ask another question. I'm going to ask another question. I'm going to ask another question. Mr. President, but what do you think, Mr. So, Peter Doocy got brass balls.
To keep sending Ukrainian troops to their deaths for another couple years, or are you going to agree to redraw the maps?
Thank you for your question. So, first of all, we live under each day attacks. That today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded.
That's not answering the question.
People, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support American and European partners, and we will do our best for this. So, and I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea of the United States, personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war, and we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Totally didn't answer the question. Totally didn't answer the question. Zeke and stuff like he has no confidence and very weak. It's so different from how Putin comes across. This is true. Putin looks like he practices walk from Dom Draper. Watching Dom Draper in Mad Men.
If the peace deal will be achieved, are you going to be willing to send American peacekeepers to Ukraine?
Well, we're going to work with Ukraine. We're going to work with everybody, and we're going to make sure that if there's peace.
By the way, I hate how they use that term peacekeepers instead of just saying military, because that's what it is. What do you think? They're going to be a whole bunch of people with signs saying make love, not war? I hate how they call them peacekeepers. I understand that they're not engaged in hostile, conflagrations. But at the same time, I hate that term peacekeeper, because basically it sounds like it's a very pretty word to try and cover up the fact that you're asking to send our troops into potentially harm's way.
Peace is going to stay long term. This is very long term. We're not talking about a 2-year peace and then we end up in this mess again. We're going to make sure that everything's good. We'll work with Russia. We're going to work with Ukraine, and we're going to make sure it works. And I think if we can get to peace, it's going to work. I have no doubt about it.
President Zelensky, go ahead.
Your team has talked about security guarantees. Could that involve U.S. troops? Would you roll down in the future?
We'll let you know that maybe later today. We're meeting with 7 great leaders of great countries also, and we'll be talking about that. They'll all be involved, but there'll be a lot of there'll be a lot of help. When it comes to security, there's going to be a lot of help. It's going to be good. They are first line.
Is there? I didn't hear about the well, I guess so. We'll see what we get.
Of defense because they're there. They're Europe. But we're going to help them out also. We'll be involved. Yes.
Vladimir Putin mentions that the war will not end without addressing the root causes of this war. Have you had an understanding what are the root causes of this war?
Well, look,
money.
The war is going to end. When it ends, I can't tell you, but the war is going to end, and this gentleman wants it to end, and Vladimir Putin wants it to end. I think the whole world is tired of it, and we're going to get it ended. It was, I've done 6.
Dano's saying Zelensky knows he's in a chokehold. He just doesn't want to tap out. He will. I'm going to tell you something. He will not tap out as long as the EU keeps getting his back. This is what the woke left does not realize, is that they're enablers. I don't know if they realize it or not, because frankly, they have so much self-interest in continuing this war, because I'm sure that they do similar money laundering cycles in the EU that we've seen our own Congress partake in with respect to this particular conflict. So I can't tell you whether they know it or they don't know it, but I'll tell you that they care about themselves much more than they care about actual peace or anything else. That's just the nature of politicians in general. So when you're talking about, him knowing he's in a chokehold, I think he's milking this war for everything, for his own personal wealth and power and acclaim and worldwide recognition and being recognized as being Saint Vladimir. I think that's so. And as long as he's enabled by having the EU get, no, Russia evil, he will keep fighting. As soon as they stop screaming that, he will tap out. It's really the EU. And I would think that Trump in his private sessions with them would be telling them that. The only reason this war is continuing is that you're encouraging Vladimir Zelensky to be a douchebag with all your reassurances and your promises of money and screaming how evil Putin is. You don't have, even if Putin's evil, you don't have to be screaming that he's evil. But if Putin is offering up what seems to be a reasonable deal, the only thing that would, the biggest motivation for Zelensky to not tap out is that the EU is sitting there saying, no, we're not giving up anything, no concessions, which is what we saw happen 4 months ago.
Wars. I've ended 6 wars, and I thought this maybe would be the easiest one, and it's not the easiest one. It's a tough one. A lot of reasons for it. And they'll be talking about it for a long time, but they'll be talking about the others. Look, India, Pakistan, we're talking about the big places. When you look at...
He has stopped. This is something a lot of people don't know. Someone actually said, people are like, what wars has he ended? There's between Cambodia and Thailand, there was a brewing war. They say it didn't. They say the war never happened or ended, ended relatively quickly, like the conflict there, because of Trump. India, Pakistan, another conflict. There's another one, I think, in the Congo. There's at least 3 that I heard of that he has already stopped in the 6 months that he's been there, 7 months that he's been there. That's amazing. No one ever talks about any of that. You don't even hear anything about that. The only wars that anyone ever hears anything about is Israel, Gaza, and Russia, Ukraine. Those are the only wars that apparently matter. All other wars, no. Why? Why? Ask yourself, why is that? Why is it we keep hearing about these wars all the time? It's because there's so much propaganda around both of those wars. So much. It's intense propaganda. That's what makes me feel as if this war too isn't. It's just another. Listen, many of you are too young to remember the 1980s, okay? Russia was at war with Afghanistan for I don't even know how long. 12 years, 15 years. We didn't hear about this all the time. We didn't hear about it all the time. Every once in a while, you'd hear something about this. Not the way we're hearing about this, about Ukraine. Now, you might think that it's different because, we're living in the internet age now, so news spreads a lot more. And how many conflicts Israel was engaged in the 80s and 90s, all of a sudden this war with Gaza, so much propaganda, so much daily coverage. It's insanity. No one knows any, no one even knew that there was how many people, I should put out a poll. Did you know a week ago, did you know that there was a brewing conflict, that there was a conflict between Cambodia and Thailand, or India, Pakistan? No one knows anything about this. There are certain select conflicts which are highly propagandized for the West to know about them and feel invested in them. And those are the ones which make me feel as if there's an evil, nefarious purpose behind the propagandization, that they're looking to make the West feel a certain way about these particular conflicts. Someone is benefiting from this. Someone is looking for an advantage by having this become all of a sudden something that the West must know all about. There's wars in Africa, wars in the Far East. We don't know anything about those wars, but for some reason, these two conflicts are the ones that everyone has to hear about all the time. Why is that? And it just makes me feel as if this is, we're getting, it's theater. Oh, good for you. All right. I did not. 9. Killing fields in Nigeria. Yeah.
You just take a look at some of these wars. You go to Africa and take a look at that. Rwanda and the Congo, Republic of the Congo. That's been going on for 31 years. And so we've done a total of 6, and we really have 6, not including the fact that we obliterated, and it turned out to be a total obliteration, the nuclear, as you said, the future nuclear capability of Iran. And this one, I think we're going to get solved also. I feel confident we're going to get it solved.
This is the point, John. You're feeding my point. You're only proving my point. Who's at fault in Congo versus Rwanda? Who's at fault in Cambodia, Thailand? Why is it that you don't know anything about that, but you have all sorts of everyone has very strong opinions about these two wars? That's what I'm saying, is you've been propagandized to actually even care about it, to be thinking about these wars, to think that you actually have insight and perspective. And I'm not faulting you individually, John. I'm not trying to call you out or in a way, because what I feel your comment here is reflective of the way a lot of people in the West likely think and feel. And a lot of people in the West likely think and feel the exact opposite way about this. My point is, why did so many people in the West even have an opinion? Why is this something that everyone has an opinion? You don't have an opinion on Congo versus Rwanda, but you feel you have very strong opinions about Gaza, Syria, and Israel. You have very strong opinions. People tend to have very strong opinions about Russia, Ukraine. The killing fields in Nigeria, no, nothing. That's what I'm saying, is that's when you need to sort of alert yourself and say, why am I being fed all this information about these particular conflicts rather than about fentanyl in this country? And my point is that the fact that I'm not addressing your opinion specifically, I'm not going to debate with you. I'm not going to debate with you right or wrong. I'm simply highlighting the fact that you have an opinion on that particular conflict, while likely have no opinion at all about all these other conflicts, is reflective of the fact that that particular conflict has been highly propagandized. And when it's the more it's propagandized, the less informed we likely are about this is actual fact versus a narrative that's being fed to us by a media that we know lies to us for a living. And especially, and here's one more point I'll make on it, especially because I'll tell you right now that between AIPAC and the Jewish contingent flowing money in pro-Israel side, and then you have the Arab League and OPEC and the Muslim nations indoctrinating our youth and flowing money in Qatar, flowing money in on the Muslim side, you know it's propagandized. You know that both sides there are just shelling out shekel, dinar, lira, whatever money they use in Qatar. You know it's coming out by the millions. And that's what I'm saying. If you feel really strongly about it, you have to basically step back and say, how reliable is the source I'm having and why are they feeding me all this information on it? That's all I'm suggesting. I'm not going to debate with you about right or wrong on this side or that side. Say that for another time. But just at least self-reflect as to like, why do I have an opinion on this? And once I know that I do have this opinion, should I question whether, to some degree, has it been fed to me by someone who has an agenda when I know that there's so much money going towards portraying a particular agenda? Posted 2 mic moments from today in locals. All right. I'll try to check them out. Israel's protecting the Jews in Syria. What the hell is John talking about? I don't know. Like I said, I don't even get into that. I'm not getting into that. I'm comparing the level of emotion that we in the West feel about these particular conflicts versus every other conflict on the planet that we don't even know about their existence. And again, I wasn't looking to attack John for that particular opinion. My point is, Kimberly, why do you know about Israel protecting the Druze? That's what I'm saying. I don't know the first damn thing about what's happening in Rwanda. I'm a freaking podcaster who covers. I don't know about the fight between Cambodia and Thailand or India, Pakistan. I don't know what the nature of the fight is about. I have no idea. I certainly don't care. This one's right, that one's wrong. But everyone seems to care about these two conflicts. That's the sign that we've been propagandized. And if you're a Cambodian or you're a Pakistani or an Indian, you know about it. Fine, I understand that. You sort of feel like some sort of connection. If you're a Muslim and you know about the Gaza war, or you're Jewish and you know about that war, I understand that. You're Russian, Ukrainian, I understand that. I'm simply saying, the level of emotion is just through the roof.
Can you tell us about your conversations with European leaders and what they need to see to support an end to the war?
Well, we're going to be meeting with a great representative group and 7 very powerful, very big countries and great people, all friends of mine and friends of yours. And we're going to have some suggestions made. They want to see peace. They would like to see peace.
When did Russia give up? You said last night that
President Trump, do you think it's fair to for Ukraine and for Russia to achieve a lasting and durable peace if Ukraine cedes its territories that Russia hasn't yet conquered? Do you think it's a fair peace for Ukraine?
We're going to have a lasting peace. Just to answer the first part of your question, we're going to have a lasting peace. I hope it's going to be immediately. I hope it doesn't have to go on. And I think people of the whole world is going to be very happy when that's announced. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you posted on social media, Mr. President, a very touching letter.
Yeah, and this is the point. Many Christians being killed in Nigeria. Most people don't know about it. That's why I don't fall for Gaza and Ukraine. War and death are more prevalent than many understand. Yep.
From the First Lady, and the letter was hand-delivered to President Putin, and it calls for an end to the war, essentially, because of the children and the children's future. Why did the First Lady feel that letter was necessary? Was it because she believes that Mr. Putin is the aggressor in the war? Is a similar letter being hand-delivered to President Zelenskyy?
So the First Lady felt very strongly. She's watched the same thing that you watch and that I watch. I see things that you don't get to see, and it's horrible. But when she's got a great love of children, she has a wonderful son that she loves, probably more than anybody, including me. I hate to say it, but she loves her son. She loves children, and she hates to see something like this happening. And that goes for other wars too. I mean, she sees the heartbreak, the parents, the funerals that you see on television, always funerals. We want to see something other than funerals. No, she felt it was a beautiful letter. It was very well received by him. And she did ask me to say, she would love to see this end. She would love to see it end. And she says it very openly, very proudly, and with great sorrow because so many people have been killed.
Last week,
Brian, go ahead.
yes, sir. I've got a question for each of you. First of all, Mr. President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
By the way, this reporter, I don't know his name. I'm sure everyone knows his name because the whole suit thing. He looks like a character from a movie who's like continually trying to interject into something important, but everyone looks at it as being like a nobody. Like in the 80s, there was always like those characters who was just like, hey, like it's just sort of like trying too hard. But yeah.
That's the one that attacked you last night. See, now
I remember that.
I apologize to you. You look wonderful. No, my first question for you, President Zelensky.
In the same suit. You see, I changed your
Maybe yours is much better than mine.
That's a good line. That's a good line.
Quickly, upon peace, God willing we get peace, are you open to holding an election in your country?
Yes, of course. We're all.
Oh, okay. That's a sort of little dig at him. That was sort of a little dig. I missed a rant or two here. Zelenskyy said, if he had a meeting in Greenland, could you see Trump arriving to the peace meeting in Greenland in an Ohio-class nuclear sub? I don't think he would do that. That would be that's pushing it too far.
For election, yes. We have to do safety circumstances. And a little bit, we need to work in the parliament because during the war you can't have elections, but we can do security. We need we need a truth, yes, everywhere in the battlefield, in the sky, in the sea, to make possible for people to do democratic, open, legal elections.
So you say during the war you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now. So you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? Oh, that's good. I wonder what the fake.
You like this idea? No.
He's funny. He's funny. Yeah, no one in the American media seems to take him to task for that. Imagine if Trump did that. Imagine. Oh my God, just imagine. I love that he called that out. Trump is great. I love that he called that out because no one in the media talks about that at all. At all. They're all just like, oh, well, what's he supposed to do? There's a war. Imagine if Trump said canceled elections in 2028. Oh my God. He's like, oh, we're at war. What can I do? Well, no more elections. They'd be screaming, dictator, dictator, tyrant, fascists. Wars are a moneymaker for the press and for many countries, but the wars that are ignored still exist and continue on with no press and no stopping in the future. That's what makes it all the more amazing that he put them to rest, right? Because he really just wants peace. I saw a clip from Bill Maher, which I was going to share with you, but I was like, I'm going to have to cut it out. I'm going to have to shave it out on YouTube because it'd be like, you stole from Bill Maher. So where he basically is recognizing that Trump really, really cares about peace. And everyone who talks to him in private says he really cares about peace. It's like, surprise, surprise. He actually is legit.
Speaking of news, I got a question for you. This sounds insane for me even to ask this, but do you think the American media really doesn't even want a peace deal? Because they've been so critical of you every step of the way as you lead the charge.
Look at this.
For peace.
This is what he's asking.
It's an amazing phenomenon. I said that if in the settlement you got Moscow, St. Petersburg, and thousands of miles around them, they would say, I made a bad deal. The level of hatred and animosity is incredible. Not with all. I mean, we have great people up here. We also have terrible people up there that I think are told what to say. But, in solving all of these wars, they don't even write about it. I saw major wars. I saw wars that have been going on for 31, 35, and 37, and a couple of quicker ones. One that was going to...
I hate half the people in this room.
Full-blown deal very quickly. You know what the one I'm talking about? It was a big one. But they don't even write about that. No matter what I do, no matter what, and you know, this is not anything to do with you. It's probably to your advantage in a certain way. But no matter what I do, no matter what deal I make, from my standpoint, you'll come out good. Maybe President Putin will come out good. But they'll say Trump was absolutely horrible. It's just that, and I've lived with that for a long time. I've lived with it since just before the first election. I used to get great publicity. Now I get the worst publicity anyone's ever gotten in office, but I won in a landslide, so that people understand they're the only ones that count ultimately. But I've also had great reporters. I've had journalists that are very good. But it's very sad when you do the right thing. As an example, they said, because of the fact that Vladimir Putin came to American soil, this was a tremendous defeat for Donald Trump. No, it was really wonderful that he did it. It was a hard thing for him to do, to be honest with you. It was the opposite of what they said, but they said it. Now, if he didn't come, they'd say that was also bad for Trump. Yeah, there's no way. And there's just a great dishonesty of the press, and I think that's why it's lost its credibility. You know, its credibility is at an all-time low. We have a thing going on right now in D.C. We went from the most unsafe place anywhere to a place that now people, friends are calling me up, Democrats are calling me up, and they're saying, sir, I want to thank you. My wife and I went out.
Just doing a little body language here for a moment. Notice how all of the men are sitting like man spreading, right? All of them are sitting like man spreading. It's a dominant type of pose. Every one of them. It's pretty funny. And you have to. Yeah, you would lose respect for them if they sat there, you know, any other way, right? You would. But it's definitely, I think many of them take their cue from Trump. I don't think Trump is thinking about what he's doing at all in how he's sitting. I don't think he's thinking about that at all. I think that's just Trump. As Brian Glenn from RAV, boyfriend of Marjorie Taylor Greene, he got backlash for asking why Zelenskyy never wears his suit. Right, the bullying and TJ. Joe, will we get locals or call-in show this week? Probably. Definitely locals. Definitely locals. Yeah.
Out to dinner last night for the first time in 4 years. And Washington, D.C. is safe. And you did that in 4 days. I'll tell you, it's safe. I had another friend of mine. He has a son who's a great golfer. He's on tour. And he came in fourth yesterday in the big tournament where Scotty Scheffler made the great shot. And he said his son is going to dinner in Washington, D.C. tonight. I said, would you have allowed that to happen a year ago? He said, no way, no way. He said, what you've done is incredible. And I think the people realize it. But the press says, he's a dictator. He's trying to take over. No, all I want is security for our people. But people that haven't gone out to dinner in Washington, D.C. in 2 years are going out to dinner. And the restaurants the last 2 days were busier than they've been in a long time.
So I walked around yesterday with MTG. If you can walk around with DC with MTG and not be attacked, the city is safe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week you warned
that's what you were saying.
Severe consequences if a 30-day ceasefire or any type of ceasefire were not agreed to by Russia. Will there be severe consequences? Does that change because of
I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires. And I know that it might be good to have, but I can also understand strategically why, well, you know, one country or the other wouldn't want it. You have a ceasefire and they rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, and, you know, maybe they don't want that. But if you look at the 6 deals that we made peace, and you know, long-term, long-running wars, I didn't do any ceasefires. I like the concept. You know, I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately, as opposed to in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it takes. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight.
It's probably
wish they
true.
would stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made without even the mention of the words ceasefire.
President Zelenskyy, are you disappointed that there's no ceasefire?
Decision to offer Ukraine Article 5-like security guarantees, but stop short of pushing for their full membership.
Yeah, well, we haven't done anything on that yet. If you look back and you go back long before President Putin, it was always a statement that they would never allow Ukraine into NATO. So that was a statement that was made, but we haven't discussed any of that yet. We're going to be discussing it today, but we will give them very good protection, very good security. That's part of it. And the people that are waiting for us, they are, I think they're very like-minded. They want to help out all of us.
President Trump, thank you, President. Thank you, President Trump. The United States.
It's just like, wait, I got all this stuff I got to ask about. My voice is more commanding.
The United States has already given hundreds of billions of dollars to this war effort in Ukraine. At best, it is a stalemate, and the killing continues. So, President Trump, how much more is the United States willing to give Ukraine? And President Zelensky, how much more do you want?
Well, I'll start off just by saying we're not giving anything now. We're selling weapons. This is something before, I guess the number is well over $300 billion. That was under Joe Biden, a corrupt politician, not a smart man. Never was. By the way, go back 40 years. He was not a smart man 40 years ago either.
Yeah, you see, I don't like that answer. I don't like that answer. I don't like that answer. Because the reason I don't like that answer is because you give him $300 billion, some of it gets skimmed off the top, some of it gets recycled back into Congress, and the war machine, basically the military-industrial complex, will basically be pumping money into the neocons and to the left. So yeah, that's not ending wars. It's just and who pays for it? You and me. So no, I don't like that at all.
But now he's in particular bad. This was done by a corrupt administration that shouldn't have been in. And frankly, if the right results of the election were given, if I were president, this war would have never taken place, and he would have been very happy because he would have liked to have seen. I mean, they went through hell. He went through hell. This war would have never happened, and the people that were killed, a couple of million people, a lot of people with soldiers and everything else, and the people that have been displaced and forced into other areas and other countries because of what's happened, none of that would have happened. And I'm just saying that he was a horrible president, whether it was the borders or this. He was just a horrible,
disaster,
corrupt president.
I can. Thank you so much. So first of all, we have possibility now to buy weapons from the United States. We are thankful for this program and this opportunity. We are thankful for Europe. They pay for this. And through NATO program, for example, PEARL and etc., we have some programs where we can have some money to finance this. And this is a part, I think. It's not a part for the war and to defend us. It also will be a part for security guarantees, to strengthen our army, to rearm.
What? We have to pay for their security guarantees? Hold on, let's play this regular speed here.
Ukrainian army, this is very, very important. And it depends how much money we need to rearm. For example, the question of air defense, we spoke about it with President Trump, and I'm happy that we have now bilateral decisions and we work on it with production, American production. Nobody in Europe has so many air defense like Patriots, for example. We need it very much, and this is also about defending.
Who the hell is paying for that? Who the hell is paying for that? See this? No, you see, no. Who the hell's paying for that? This is ridiculous. These security guarantees. He's going to kill the deal over these security guarantees.
I think the good news, we make the best military equipment in the world by far. You mentioned the Patriots. How good are they?
Systems.
We have systems. They're literally 100% foolproof, and it's really like shooting two bullets. You know, two bullets hitting each other in the air in a space like this. The chances, 100%. It's 99 to 100%. So we sell the equipment to NATO, and NATO does what, I don't know what the arrangement is that you have with, but I know that they want you to have the equipment.
Why?
And we're getting the best equipment in the world, but they pay us for the equipment. Under Biden, it was just crazy what was going on. I believe the number is over 300. I think it could be $350 billion worth of equipment and money and everything else. And we've made more progress in settling this war in the last 2 months than they made in 4 years. This should have been settled a long time ago, but it should have never happened. Yeah, please.
Real quickly, you pushed out on social media.
Brian, go first.
You pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that? How important?
Well, that's a very off-topic. Just
I was going to say, what the hell is that? What? All right. I mean, I guess I care more about that than I care about Zelensky, but it is really off topic.
Very quickly, mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them because of what's happened, massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change is machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results. The machines, I mean, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people, but most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form. So between paper ballots, very, very important, paper ballots, and I think maybe even more important, the mail-in voting. We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in vote, even Jimmy Carter with this commission, they set it up. He said the one thing about mail-in voting, you will never have an honest election if you have mail-in. And it's time that the Republicans get tough and stop it because the Democrats want it. It's the only way they can get elected. Because with men and women's sports and with transgender for everybody and open borders and all of the horrible things, and now the new thing is they love crime. They're fighting me on the fact that I've made Washington, D.C. safe. We're not going to get mugged, beaten up, or killed like all the people you've been watching get so badly hurt. I'm glad. I hate to take your time with this, but I'm glad you asked me that question. We're going to stop mail-in ballots because it's corrupt. You know, when you go to a voting booth and you do it the right way and you go to a state that runs it properly, you go in, they even...
This is a tough legal issue. I'm just warning you. I agree with everything President Trump is saying. Obviously, anyone with sense would. The problem is that the Constitution is very clear about allowing states to run their own elections. So as soon as you start cutting in on that and saying, you can't do it this way, you have to do it that way, you start running into potential constitutional issues. Now, to the extent that you're dealing with a federal election, potentially, I can see how they could have some say, but he's going to be facing war on this in the courts for a long time. I don't think this is going to be like a simple matter at all. Even if you could get the votes through Congress, which I don't know how you can get 70, you can get 6. How are you going to get 60 senators? I don't know how that's going to happen.
Ask me. They asked me for my license plate for identity. I said, I don't know if I have it. They said, sir, you have to have it. I was very impressed, actually. But it's very hard to cheat with mail-in voting. As you know what happens in California, it's so corrupt, where some people get 5, 6, 7 ballots delivered to them. Now, we got to stop mail-in voting, and the Republicans have to lead the charge. The Democrats want it because they have horrible policy. If you have mail-in voting, you're not going to have many Democrats get elected. That's bigger than anything having to do with redistricting, believe me. And the Republicans have to get smart. We're not going to have a country. I said for a long time at rallies, you need borders and you need free and fair elections. Those two things. Otherwise, you don't have. We have strong borders now.
And not just free and fair elections, but transparency about the integrity of our elections. It's not just that they have to be honest. It's that we, the public, have to have reason to have confidence that they're honest, because we don't trust our media to tell us it's honest anymore. Neither side does, nor should we, because our media is full of liars. So we don't just need to have integrity, but it has to be obvious, painfully obvious to the common layperson that these are free and fair elections.
90 days, Mr. President, we didn't have 1, 0, 0, and 3 months. Not one person came in illegally into our country. In fact, even I find that hard to believe, but it's run by a little bit of a liberal group that put out the numbers. So I guess but 0, 0, and 0. You go back a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 millions of people poured into our country. It was terrible. Thank you very much.
It's really weird how that happened, because the Democrats were telling us through the last 6 months of the Biden administration that it's impossible to close that border without spending billions of dollars. So how did that possibly? It's impossible. It was impossible. That's what they kept swearing and swearing and swearing. Well, we would have, but but Trump killed the bill. Thank God he did. If he did, it's possible. But if he did, thank God, because that was a border destroying bill.
What security guarantees do you need from President Trump to be able to make a deal? Is it American troops, intelligence, equipment? What is it?
Everything. And really, it includes two parts. First, strong.
This greedy mother effer. I can't. I hate. This guy's evil. He's evil.
Ukrainian army that I began to discuss with your
So why don't we just provide troops for you, right? Right.
colleagues. And it's a lot about weapon and then people and training missions and intelligence. And second, we will discuss with our partners. It depends on the big countries, on the United States, on a lot of our friends.
Mr. President, are you willing to commit American troops to that NATO-like protection in order to get President Zelenskyy to a deal today?
Well, I don't know if you define it that way, but NATO-like, I mean, we have people waiting in another room right now. They're all here from Europe, biggest people.
She's basically asking, can we not put them in NATO, but treat them as if they're in NATO? And we're already doing that, and that has to end.
People in Europe, and they want to give protection. They feel very strongly about it, and we'll help them out with that. I think it's
we're not exactly doing that because we haven't sent our troops in, and if it was a NATO nation, we would. So I shouldn't say that we're treating them like that already. We're already doing way too much, and promising that we'll do more in the future sounds asinine and insane.
Very important. I think it's very important to get the deal.
You've been involved with the peacekeeping in Ukraine since your first day in the administration. What would you say to the Ukrainian people right now who are suffering under the Russian attacks and hoping that the American people will stand with them?
Well, I know Ukrainian people. I've known many over the years. They're great people. They're smart. They're energetic. They love their country. I mean, they love their country, and we want to get this war ended. That's all I can do. I love the Ukrainian people, but I love all people. I love the Russian people. I love them all. I want to get the war stopped. Very important.
Mr. President, was there any aspect of your discussion with Vladimir Putin that left you disappointed?
Look, we just spoke to, I was just telling the president, I just spoke to President Putin indirectly, and we're going to have a phone call right after these meetings today. And we may or may not have a trilat. If we don't have a trilat, then the fighting continues. And if we do, we have a good chance. I think if we have a trilat, there's a good chance of maybe ending it. But he's expecting my call when we're finished with this meeting. Thank you very much.
So there you go. So that was the press conference. Z is looking out for the best interest for his people. I don't think that's true. I do not think that's true. I think he's looking out for the best interest for him. I think that prolonging the war enriches him and retains his international spotlight. I don't think. What evidence do we have that he's looking out for his people? Bear in mind that I'm cynical when people have mixed motives. So look at all of the trappings of glory that have surrounded him over the last 4 years, while he's been taking on the fighter role with his stupid little stage photo ops and standing strong, and the whole world rallying around him and sending him billions and billions of dollars. Every 10 minutes, he's getting another infusion of more and more billions of dollars while his own people go into a meat grinder. So is it possible that he's looking out for the best interest of his people? I think you have to be I'm not sure if you're being serious or sarcastic, but either way, my personal take is I don't think he's looking out for the best interest of Ukraine. I don't take that at all. I assume, given everything we've seen from him, that he's trying to present plausible claims, plausible demands. But when you're making demands that are rooted in your dependence on others to back up your tough talk, I'm like, who the F do you think you are? Seriously. Like, he thinks that his own feces don't stink. The whole tenor of what he takes, the tone of his messaging, is a very presumptuous attitude that that the beneficence that he's seen first and foremost from Americans, and very, very far behind, and secondly from Americans, and then very far behind there, the EU. And I see the way he conducted himself in that first meeting, and I don't think this is a guy who cares at all about Ukrainians and the fact that they're being chewed up, that they're calling on 60-year-olds to go fight in their army, and someone he's very comfortable with the idea of his country remaining in war, and not having elections, and engaging in his whole world tours that he does all the time, and being recognized as being, in the last 5 years. I'll tell you right now, 2 people on the planet who in the last 5 years who have gotten international acclaim, 3 people, let's put it: Trump, Zelenskyy, Fauci. Only one of them do I think is actually a good person. And seems to care about the best interests of his people. And I don't assume that even Trump is doing it purely out of altruism. I don't mind, because I think that his interests align with ours. But I've never assumed that about him. The fans shared with me in locals at goodlogic.locals.com 2 hot mic moments.
Linear.
I'm trying to figure out these 2 links. I don't want to spend like a half hour on these links you gave me here, but a few minutes I will. Let me see what you gave me here. I want to cover also a little bit about his meetings with the European leaders. So I got a 10-minute clip of that I plan on going through also.
That's all we ask for, is fairness with the media. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for being so fair.
All the time.
But he loves it. He loves it. For he does it. He does it always. I never want to speak with my friends.
He's a very good player, golfer.
Yeah, I know.
He went to college.
But he says you always.
That's all we ask for, is
I never want to touch my press. That's funny. That's really funny. Who was that? Well, let's watch here. I want you to know, I'm going 3 hours. We didn't reach our goal. But that's okay. Some days we reach it, some days we don't. But I'm still giving you 3 hours because I want to cover this story properly. And that's more important. So is this, I got a lot of tabs here. No, we'll pause on that. Let me give it. Where is it? There we go.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay. Here we go. So this is I don't think this is the entire meeting, but this is as long as I'm going to go right now.
It's a great honor to have you here. Special place. White House is special no matter where you're from. Represents so much, and it really is beautiful. And thank you for all of the wonderful things that took place today. We've had a very successful day thus far. And important discussions as we work to end the killing and stop the war in Ukraine. We're all working for the same goal, very simple goal. We want to stop the killing, get this settled. I've just had the honor of being with President Zelenskyy and all of the discussions that we've had. We covered a lot of territory, and I spoke indirectly with President Putin today. We're going to call President Putin right after this meeting. I'm sure we're going to have a solid meeting, good meeting, maybe a great meeting, and we're going to try and work out a trilat after that and see if we can get it finished, put this to sleep.
What the only benefit, because I do think it's the weakest move in the world, that basically it seems as if Zelenskyy was so timid, is he needs to have his cheerleader world leaders come around with their pom-poms saying, "We love Zelenskyy, we love Zelenskyy." I don't think that's an alpha move at all. Quite the contrary, it's just the opposite. But I think that from Trump's perspective, I think he's looking to basically say there's going to be some costs here that are going to be incurred, and I'm expecting you guys to pick it up. That's what I'd be looking for. It's Russia's on your doorstep. They're on your doorstep. So they're not. Ukraine's not in NATO. This is your headache, and you should be. If troops going to go in there and stuff, we'll sell them weapons, but we're not picking up the tab on this thing here. So you guys are all pro, yay, Zelenskyy. Well, you can foot the bill for that now. That's what I hope is what he's doing. That's why I hope they're there. For him to basically say, yeah, you guys are going to be ponying up in troops, in money. This is your headache.
Because this is not since the Second World War has there been anything like this. So I'm honored to welcome NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who's a great gentleman, great political leader in Europe generally, but now he's the NATO Secretary General, and you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Mark. Prime Minister Starmer of the United Kingdom, our friend and my friend, and doing really well. And people like him a lot. We all like him. Everyone knows President Macron of France, who's been with me from the beginning, one of the first people I met as a foreign dignitary, and I liked him from day one. And I like him even more now. That's pretty good. That's unusual. That's a pretty unusual thing. Prime Minister Meloni of Italy, who's a really great leader and an inspiration over there. She's served now, even though she's a very young person, she's served there for a long period of time relative to others. They don't last very long. You've lasted a long time. You're going to be there a long time. Chancellor Merz of Germany, who is a very strong person and a very strong leader and very highly respected in Germany. And he's my friend, and it's an honor to have him as my friend. Thank you very much. Very good. You look great with your tan. When did you get that tan? I want to get a tan like that. That's true. President Stubb of Finland, and he's somebody that, where are we here? Huh? Where? I'm right here. Oh, you look better than I've ever seen you look. But I don't think he knew that guy. Great job, and we wanted to have you here because you're somebody that we all respect, and you've had a lot to do with the success, I think, and the potential success. And thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. And the president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, who is terrible somebody that we just made a big deal with. Terrible person. All of those countries, I don't know. I think you might be more powerful than all these guys at this table. I don't know. But we had a great negotiation, and you're respected all over the world. So I want to thank you very much for being here. It's a great honor to have you. The Alaska Summit reinforced my belief that while difficult, peace is within reach, and I believe that in a very significant step, President Putin agreed that Russia would accept security guarantees for Ukraine, and this is one of the key points that we need to consider, and we're going to be considering that at the table also, like who will do what, essentially. I'm optimistic.
That's what I want. Who will do what? With us doing as little as possible. That's why I was like, yeah, come on in here. Come on in here. Almost like it's like when you have like a benefit, like we're hosting a benefit and you're going to be ponying up. Oh, yeah, we'll give you a nice fancy dinner. You're going to love it. We'll have a great time. You're one of the cool kids. You're invited to this charity benefits. Oh, you're so cool. I know the reason. You want to know why? You want to know why I know? You want why I know that that's likely what he's doing here? Because I get the text messages from the Trump team all the time to this day. I don't know what they're raising money for. I'm like, why are we raising money? Donald, what are you got no more elections you're running in. Why are we raising money? What's going on here? But there's more donations to be had. So I know that once Trump is inviting you in, he wants something. He wants something. So and for you and me, it's in our best interest. Like, oh yeah, you guys are so special, so important. You're so important. Come on in. Come on in. We need you for lasting peace. Don't you want to be part of peace? You're a very special, important person, Mr. Finland dude. You know, what's his name? Grub, whatever. We love and respect you. We love you. You're great. You're the best. You're very respected, very important person. Look at him. He's beautiful with that tan. So beautiful.
That collectively we can reach an agreement that would deter any future aggression against Ukraine. And I actually think there won't be. I think that's even overrated, largely overrated, but we're going to find out. And I think that the European nations are going to take a lot of the burden. We're going to help them, and we're going to make it very secure. We also need to discuss the possible exchange.
You see, I told you they're going to take the burden. Well, we'll kick in.
Of territory, taking into consideration the current
line
of contact. That means the war zone, the war lines that are
like this hour.
Pretty obvious, very sad actually to look at them. And negotiating positions. President Putin, also you have President of Ukraine, who is you just met a little while ago, and we're going to try and get a three-party meeting, maybe as soon as we can. And I have a feeling you and President Putin are going to work something out. Ultimately, this is a decision that can only be made by President Zelenskyy and by the people of Ukraine working also together in agreement with President Putin. And I just think that's very good things are going to come.
Oh, I missed these earlier. I apologize. He's not standing down, but responding back. It's why best interest. I don't think he did well with UK coming in and stopping the first peace agreement. Maybe. I don't know. I don't really follow this war as much as they keep throwing in my timeline. I follow it when there's serious conversations happening or meetings like this. You reach your goal, but 15 yellow rather than using green is issue. Make gold based on $5 is better. We can agree to disagree on that one.
Of it. So I hope we have a good meeting. And if we can have a good meeting, I'll set up a meeting with President Putin. And if you'd like, I'll go to that meeting. And not that I want to do that, but I will do that because we want to save a lot of people from dying. A lot of people are dying, and we got to save them. We got to save it. 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people sometimes a week. All of us would obviously prefer an immediate ceasefire while we work on a lasting peace. And maybe something like that could happen. As of this moment, it's not happening. But President Zelenskyy and President Putin can talk a little bit more about that. You know, in the 6 or so wars that we stopped, we haven't had a ceasefire. And so I don't know that it's necessary. You can do it through the war, but it would be, I like the ceasefire from another standpoint. You immediately stop the killing. But I believe a peace agreement at the end of all of this is something that's very attainable, and it can be done in the near future. With all of the wars that I got involved in, we only have this one left. Of course, as I walk out the door, there'll probably be a new one starting, and I'll get that stopped too. But I thought this was going to be one of the easier ones. It's actually one of the most difficult. They're very complex. The next step would be for a trilateral meeting, and that will be worked out. And I just look forward to working and having a great result. We're going to spend a lot of time today talking about, and we're really honored you guys came over. I mean, these are the heads of major countries. and respected all over Europe. And they speak for, largely, I think I should say, but pretty much for the other countries of Europe. And we will come to a resolution today, I think, on almost everything, including probably the security. And that's pretty much the story. I'd like to say, Mr. President, would you like to say something? You have the media. If you want, you could come over and you could stand, you could use mine, or you could just turn around, whichever you feel comfortable with.
Thank you so much. I can speak without microphone. Thank you so much. I think that we had very good conversation with President Trump.
Very good.
You can speak without microphone, but no one's going to hear you.
And it really was the best one. Or sorry, maybe the best one will be in the future. But it was really good. And we spoke about very sensitive points. The first one is security guarantees. And we are very happy with President that all the leaders are here, and the security in Ukraine depends on the United States and on you and on those leaders who are with us in our hearts. They have been online before yesterday, and etc. So a lot of countries on the side of Ukraine, our people, and all of us want to finish this war, stop Russia, and stop this war. We spoke about it, and we will speak more about security guarantees. This is very important that the United States gives such strong signal and is ready for security guarantees. The second point, or maybe the first, humanitarian direction, very important to exchange all the prisoners, and I think that President will help. And I was very thankful to your wife again, Mr. President, for the letter about our abducted children, and I hope that really it can be a historic role for the people to bring kids back to the families and be happy. And
get the families back, yeah.
Yes, this is so important, and I'm happy that we discussed it, this track with the President Trump, and I hope that we will find decisions. And then what is very important, that all the sensitive things, territorial, etc., we will discuss on the level of leaders during trilateral meeting, and President Trump will try to organize such meeting, and he said that he will come or not come. Ukraine will be happy if you will
both
participate.
want me there, I will be there.
Yeah, thank you. And I think this is very important. Yes, so security guarantees, bringing
Always with the same security
back,
guarantees.
and all our people, not only warriors, first of all, warriors, and all the civilians, journalists, a lot of people in prison. So we need them back. And guarantees which will work for the years. We spoke about it, and I showed the President a lot of details on the battlefield, on the map. Thank you so much. Thank you for the map, by the way.
Good map.
It was great. Yeah. I'm thinking how to take it back.
We'll get you.
No. I think that we had constructive, specific meeting, and I'm very thankful to all the leaders who are here, and you helped a lot, and so we're happy that we have such big unity today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much,
for hosting us.
Mr.
Thank you.
President. I think you'll see that President Putin really would like to do something else. I think when we set that up, when we do, I think it's going to be when, not if. I think you're going to see some really positive moves. I know there's over 1,000 prisoners, and I know they're going to release them. Maybe they're going to release them very soon, like immediately, which I think is great. But we're going to set that up today after this meeting. So very good and great remarks. I appreciate it. Mark, as head of NATO, maybe you could say a few words, please.
Yes, I will be very brief. I really want to thank you.
So it got cut off there, but don't worry, I have the follow-up to that. This is Mark Rutte, who is the head of NATO.
I really want to thank you, President of the United States.
This is all the people on the left saying, the world doesn't respect us. They don't respect Trump. They hate Trump. The world doesn't respect us. Which they look at the world as being the EU and no one else. And frankly, my perspective is, I don't care. Why should I care? I want them to work with us. But I'm not worried about them liking us. them liking us should be so far down the list of what any world leader should be looking for. And the fact that the left is continually screaming about that is bananas. And none of them will reference none of the, if you're one of the few people on the left who is sitting here watching me, I see you, Robin. If you're one of the few people on the left who is sitting here watching me, this is the only, and I'm like your lone conservative outlet who you're willing to listen to, you likely haven't seen this. Unless you're following this directly, you likely haven't seen how the world basically bent the knee in recognition in the voice of what's his title? I don't think his exact title. Secretary General Mark Rutte, NATO Secretary General.
I really want to thank you, President of the United States, dear Donald, for the fact that you, as I said before, broke the deadlock basically with President Putin by starting that dialogue. And I think it was in February that you had the first phone call. And from there, we are now where we are today. And that is, I think if we play this well, we could end this. And we have to end this. We have to stop the killing. We have to stop the destruction of Ukraine's infrastructure. It is a terrible war. So I'm really excited. And let's make the best out of today and make sure that from today onwards, we get this thing to an end as soon as possible. I really want to thank you for your leadership, what you are doing for Volodymyr, but of course also all the European colleagues. It is really crucial. And the fact that you have said, I'm willing to participate in the security guarantees is a big step. It's really a breakthrough, and it makes all the difference. So also thank you for that. I really want to thank you.
Yeah, look, we're going to have to The question is, how does that translate? That's really ultimately the question, as to how excited we in America should be about this deal. Is what exactly is going to be our carrying cost on this? Because there's going to be a carrying cost. If you own a co-op or a condo, you got your carrying costs. If you're a homeowner, you got your property taxes. This deal looks like it's going to be having a carrying cost, and the initial outlay is going to be the priciest one, and then afterwards we're going to have the annual carrying cost. Now, frankly, I would think that being that Ukraine is such a mineral rich country, that we should be entitled to some sort of benefits back from Ukraine, where they're not our charity, but that we actually use capitalism and say, okay, we'll kick in this much, but we're going to be getting this many minerals. So we'll advance payment. I'm okay with that. But just the idea that we're just going to be continually giving them charity, not so much. That's not a deal I'm very excited about. But again, until we actually see the nature of the deal that's being brokered, it's really hard for anyone to weigh in with any sort of definitive perspective as to how what's going to, whether or not this is something that Americans should be cheering. We can applaud Trump's ability to make deals, and I'm going to show you a shocking person in just a moment. This one's going to shock you. I need to sort of share why you're hearing what you're hearing. This is praise from the virtually the last person on earth you would think would ever be praising Trump. You're going to hear praise from that person in just a moment. First, I gotta acknowledge Brian Oldenkamp coming in here. See, this is a guy who's like, look, Joe, you're going 3 hours tonight. I appreciate it. And you didn't make it, but let's bring in some new followers for you. And I very, very much appreciate that, Brian. Thank you so very, very much. You want to know who the first person is? The first person is who got gifted? I'm going to just mention that the following, which is not at all a cult type of cult, it's just about greater personal growth through community unity, learning, and thinking. And someone who comes in here looking to learn and think all the time with such an open mind is the very first recipient of a gift courtesy of Brian Oldenkamp. So I'd urge her and everyone else who is gifted membership into the following to please display some of that personal growth by expressing acknowledgement and appreciation to Brian. And the first person on that list is indeed none other than Robin Dopp. Welcome to the following, Robin. Come on down. As well as Battlecam 0, Ezra's Art Atelier, Donnie Nash 8208, TMMY, Gruff Money 7428, 3 Jim Dev, Lil Ones, Love the Bearded, nice. You too received, that's right, Love the Bearded, now part of the following. Scott VX7CV, aha! JL Dubs 587, Agring, oh no, it jumped on me. Why did it jump? I didn't want you to jump. Don't jump. I gotta go back up now. Yeah. I hate when it jumps. Agring 8259, Misty K received a gift membership courtesy of Brian Oldenkamp, as well as Manville 361, Maria Floor 9968, Christopher Howell received a gift, Nova Stella, Dragon Book, and Anthony Montgomery 68, all of them gifted courtesy of legendary Brian Oldenkamp. God bless you, brother. So very, very much appreciate your generosity to both me, my channel, as well as these fine new members of the following. Thank you, my brother. You're awesome. If you are Ukrainian, they want security guarantees. Cannot offer them NATO, so what alternative can you give them? This is what Trump has been figuring out. Yeah, no, I think he's spending a lot of time trying to figure that out. That's true. That's true. And yeah, if you're a Ukrainian, I guess, you know, if you're on the front lines, you want to make sure that, you know, you're not going to be back on the front line 6 months from now. So I get that. Zelenskyy misses Hunter in the White House. He's saying he's a coke snorter. Is that what you're trying to say? I saw that clip. People think that Zelensky's on coke. Would it surprise you? Would it really surprise you? I'm not making the allegation. I touch my nose sometimes also, and I've never even tried cocaine. So I don't see someone touching their nose, and that's not my first reflexive go-to. But there is video of him in the meeting today, basically touching his nose, and people being like, "Yeah, there's cokehead Zelenskyy." It wouldn't shock me, but I'm certainly not going there. The following is a no. I don't even know what a cult run means. So you want to hear someone who would shock you praising Trump in his handling of these negotiations? This one's going to shock you. I'm going to explain to you why it is that of all people on earth, Hillary Clinton was praising Donald Trump.
I actually was encouraged by the events of the last several months. First of all, the NATO commitment by individual member states to increase their defense spending is very welcome. It's something that prior administrations have certainly sought, and I think it's great that we are seeing these commitments that now have to be followed through on.
Which you were unable to attain as Secretary of State.
The willingness of European countries to support Ukraine, and by doing so, buy American weapons in order to provide them to the Ukrainian.
Classic neocon reason to be all excited. Yay! We're spending taxpayer dollars on our massive corporations.
And I think all of that is a very good signal that there is beginning to be a better understanding, both by the president and the people around him, as well as by the leaders of our European allies, that there can be common ground amongst us. And the kind of dismissiveness that we saw in the first Trump administration has been replaced by a much more obvious working relationship to the good of European security, transatlantic security, and hopefully
ever the globalist Hillary Clinton,
Ukrainian security. So I'm actually encouraged.
Yeah. So she's really scared. she's like, please don't send your DOJ after me, Donald. Please don't send your DOJ after me. I'm going to even find some area that I can give you a compliment. Please don't send your DOJ after me. I know that I started that whole Steele dossier thing, and I got Obama to basically destroy your hamper your ability to get things done properly during your first term. But please don't throw me in jail. Please. I know we tried throwing you in jail. I know people fired shots at your head, hit you in the head. Please. That's what you see there. You've seen Z with Nick 2 weeks ago. Zelenskyy was on Nick Rekieta? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Yeah, so I think that is her saying, look, I'm a globalist and I'm able to like basically give, here's an area I can publicly give credit to Trump and at the same time, without people thinking I'm selling out, while at the same time try and butter him up. So that's what I think we're seeing there. That's what I think we're seeing there. So the takeaway that we should have from tonight is Trump is awesome at negotiating deals. Frankly, no one in the last, I don't know, century seems to be nearly as good at it as he is. And Democrats are scared. And Dan Bongino is probably not going to be in the FBI 6 months from now. I'd be very surprised if he's there 6 months from now. And oh yeah, the Clinton Foundation. Well, I said go to jail. I didn't say for what, but I did reference the whole Steele dossier. That's a reason for motivation for him to be personally against her. But the Clinton Foundation docs are looking worse and worse. Although I think the statute of limitations is probably run on those. I think all the Clinton Foundation stuff. I think the statute of limitations is probably run. It's probably run. All right. We just hit the 3-hour mark. So I am going to be landing my plane here. There was all sorts of other stuff I wanted to cover related to the Clinton Foundation, related to Kash Patel and other stuff, which unfortunately I ran out of time. I'm going to try and set something up on Locals, maybe tomorrow. That's the goal. That's a goodlogic.locals.com. That's a goodlogic.locals.com. If you can, I urge you all to follow on over there. Not that I'm going there right now because it's 1:43 in the morning over here, but yeah. And if you came late, I am going to try and timestamp tonight's show because I sort of feel as if tonight feels like it's an appropriate one to timestamp. So maybe we'll do that. Anyhow, my friends, I thank you all for joining me. And if you made it this far and you're sitting here and you're watching all these different world leaders coming in here, these woke fools, you might think to yourself, you know, they're always pitching to me the value of lab meat. Don't do it. It's not meant for you. It's for they, them. It's not meant for you. And they definitely want you to eat the bugs. Do not eat the bugs. Don't eat the bugs. Don't do it. Remember, Rico can bring the Clinton Foundation. Maybe, perhaps. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one. Maybe. I don't know. I want that woman held accountable for so many different things. God, the laundry list of evils that she's dropped in atrocities. She's a one-man horror. She's a one-woman horror show. And she's not alone. I think Bill is similarly evil. He just has more charm. I thank you all for joining me. I look to be back, God willing, tomorrow. Until then, have a good night. And as always, Godspeed.